I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
Look at Justin, he's making his background all pretty for the podcast. What's up, brother?
Hola.
He's like, oh shit, I'm late. What's up, bro?
What's up, guys?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What is going on?
Not much. Just a busy day. What about you?
Dude, nonstop. I think I had 4 clients today, trained legs myself, super behind on food, but here we are.
Yeah, I had one of those days just with patients and stuff. Like usually I have little like windows throughout the day where I like squeeze in my meals where I just don't schedule someone for like 30 minutes. And today it just got all messed up. And the last minute change in plan. So I was like way behind on food.
Yeah, that's how it is some days.
Always dangerous.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like I was telling one of my clients today how I was behind on food because obviously like I have all my clients on very particular like specific diets.
Yeah.
And obviously like sometimes I let them know where I fall short because I'm like, I'm human too. Like I make mistakes as well. But really what I was telling one of my girls today, I said, I go, listen, if your goals mean as much to you as you say they do, then you're going to find a way to follow the diet. That's it, you know? And it's the same for me where like, if I really want to turn pro, how can I be in a bulk and miss meals? Like clearly my actions don't align with my goals. So I know where I'm going wrong. I just have to be better with time management, but that's on me. So
yeah. I mean,
At least you're honest about that, so they can be honest with you about things. They don't feel like they have to be perfect. They can let you know if something's off and correct things rather than having somebody say, you know, everything's been perfect and their pictures aren't changed and measurements aren't changed, shit like that.
well, you always know too, like, because obviously there's so many different metrics I'm sure you guys use to kind of track progress with your clients as well. So it's like when you see weight on the scales and dropping, you're like, something's not right here. So like, you know, you can always kind of tell when someone's not being truthful, but I feel like with my clients right now, a lot of them really truly want the results. So, and they're working hard for them. So like I said, I go, you ain't got to be honest to anyone but yourself because this is for you. I'm just here to help you get to the goal, you know?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, welcome back, guys. We kind of just jumped into this episode. We got episode 5 today, and we got a special guest. We got WillBinspired, the one and only.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Coming on, bro.
I appreciate you guys having me.
So just for the viewers at home who are listening to this, Will and I, this is the first time we've met. I know him through social media. If you guys don't follow him, definitely go check out his page. He's got some really good content. I mean, obviously fitness, motivation. He does a lot of work with veterans. There's some reaction stuff that's pretty good. I know he's got some hot takes with politics too that I like. So a little bit of everything for you.
For sure.
Like common sense takes when it comes to
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
The hot take. I'm questioning you.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Common sense is uncommon these days.
I was just going to say, common sense is not that common. So I guess it's probably not hot takes. It's just common takes.
Right. Yeah.
Well, before we jump into kind of Will's story a little bit, you guys want to catch up on some of the stuff that's been going around the bodybuilding world, like this whole Walker, Bob Ciccarello thing?
Wait.
I'm not familiar. What's up?
No, you haven't seen it?
You know Nick Walker, right, Will?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it was Sean Ray, I think, was on a podcast with Bob Ciccarello. Bob Ciccarello, do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those two were on a podcast, Sean Ray and Bob, and somehow it got brought up what they thought about Nick or something along those lines. Bob said that Nick will never win an Olympia, and at some point he said that Nick wouldn't even have turned pro in Bob's day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, obviously that got on social media and it made it to Nick, and Nick responded. I think the first thing Nick said was, who the fuck is Bob?
Who the fuck is that guy?
That's funny.
And, I guess what happened next?
It's just one of those like online internet bodybuilding beefs that obviously like we're all just eating our chicken and rice, hitting our workouts. So when something pops up, we're all talking about it. Yeah. Long story short, Bob was on a podcast with Sean Ray, and for lack of better words, he was giving some opinions. He said, I think Nick will be finishing 8th place at the Olympia this year. Just like very like kind of harsh takes for a guy who, and again, this has now evolved where how can the athlete ambassador, it's not even an official title, but it's like, why is the ambassador for the athletes talking poorly about one of the top athletes in the sport? And so like, I'm friends with Nick. I can see why it would rub him the wrong way.
Yeah.
Also at the same time, dude, Nick's so funny because then he clapped back with a photo yesterday wearing a shirt that says, "Who the fuck is Bob, 8th place?" And he's just like,
right. Sounds
So,
to me
I
like
mean-
Bob about to light a fire on the Nick ass.
yeah. You know what though? Like, I feel like almost every season someone goes after Nick because he's so polarizing. Like, I mean, you guys probably remember last season or 2 seasons ago, Blessing was like calling him out, and obviously like there's no real beef there. It was just Blessing trying to hype it up and obviously know that he can pull some views off of leveraging Nick's name and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, my thought on it is everyone has an opinion on everyone's physique these days. So I mean, probably wasn't the nicest thing to say that no, this guy will never win an Olympia. He's probably just ever going to finish the best, like 8th place, which we know isn't true. But yeah, I thought Nick's clapback was pretty funny.
That's funny. That's funny. Now I'm gonna have to look into that. That's hilarious.
I saw Nick post one of the shirts. And I was like, yo, I need that tee.
Right.
I saw a comment and someone said that Nick should wear that shirt when he wins the Pittsburgh Pro if Bob has to.
That's funny.
I mean, you know what? I heard another take on the whole thing from, I think it was Lee Priest, and he said something that's not wrong either. He just said, there's a lot of great physiques out there and they're never going to be champions. So not to like say that about Nick specifically, but I mean, again, even on an amateur circuit in the NPC, there's so many good physiques that show up there that still aren't pro.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
like, again, like we always talk about, there's levels to this shit. Do I think his comments were out of pocket? I don't know. I mean, it's entertainment, so I don't really mind it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Well, like you said, people, sometimes make a name for themselves by calling out Big Dog or whatever and getting some views and stuff that way.
Yeah.
I feel like we've seen it before. Some of the older guys, Sean Ray's one of them. Who was it? There's another one. I can't think of it. Flex Wheeler and Sean Ray.
Yeah.
I feel like they rub a lot of people the wrong way. And I feel like sometimes, obviously they were great bodybuilders in their day, and I respect them for that. But sometimes nowadays, I feel like they're kind of reaching out to get their name out there, or like just
stay relevant.
They'll say shit, and they're all. It's never really positive that much. And I think it is to kind of start a little beef and like, look, how often does the bodybuilding world talk this much about Bob Ciccarello? I'm not saying that was his
never.
But like some of those older guys, every now and then, I feel like they say some shit like this just to stir up something and remain relevant again. And in this case, I find it, like you said, Bob has the unofficial title is like the athlete's rep. In any capacity, he obviously works with the IFBB as he's in the Olympia and the voice of bodybuilding. There's a way to give constructive criticism or just your opinion, because you don't have to lie and say, oh, Nick's God's gift to earth, but there's ways that you can say, like he's got a great physique, crazy muscularity, but I just don't think he has the shape, and I don't think he'll ever be an Olympia. There's a like a polite way to put that. I didn't see the entire podcast of the initial stance that Bob took on Nick, so I can't say how professionally or biased it was. But shooting back and forth with Nick as a representative of the league, it doesn't seem that professional. Like, if Tyler Manning started like he was just online and was like, Justin Kelly looks like shit, like it'd be like, whoa, you can tell your mom and dad that. Like, I get that, but like openly like starting drama with a current athlete, it does seem unprofessional in my eyes. And Nick is Nick obviously fired back. But Nick is the athlete, and technically Nick was the one that got attacked first.
Right.
So, usually in my case, like I look at it like I very rarely ever go talk shit about anybody. They come at me first.
Free game.
Like, if you come to me first, I make it professional. I do try to like stay out of beef, but then sometimes I'm like, fuck it. Like, you want to start it, like I won't back down. But again, so I don't really blame Nick.
Keyboard warriors with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what? I had something yesterday with some fucking keyboard warriors, and like I don't ever play into it, but if you guys know who Charlie Kirk is, he had posted just some on his Instagram, and it was him like shutting down some kid who was clearly trying to make a name for himself in one of these events that Charlie hosts. And so basically the kid wanted his 15 minutes of fame. And so Charlie shuts him down respectfully, you know, with a thought-provoking argument like he always does. And I just commented, LOL, bro wants his 15 minutes of fame. And I start getting all these incels like talking mad shit, like as a bodybuilder seeking attention, blah, blah. I'm like, I ain't gonna entertain this shit. I'm way too busy. But it's funny because the keyboard warriors, like, I don't think I've ever went out of my way to just randomly talk shit ever on social media. It's just not my character.
That's the thing. Is like I get it pretty much every day, and I've seen posts every day, all day that I disagree with. I've never taken the time to go to somebody else's post and be like, "Fuck you, you're wrong," or like
I ain't got that time.
Yeah.
It's just not in me.
No,
But you know what? While we're talking about, you know, people talking shit, that also goes back to, have you guys seen this whole kind of beef with men's physique and the Arnold Classic that's going on too?
Oh yeah, I did see that.
With Arnold's comments. What are your guys' thoughts about that?
Can you tell me
the way I took it was that he wanted them to show more of their legs and stuff like that. That's the way that kind of came off to me. But I saw I can't think of his name, but the dude who won saying that,
his name's Ali.
Yeah, he's saying he's not coming back or some shit. And then I saw Banks commented like he's out too or something like that, and some of the other guys, and I'm like, okay.
Well, here's again, like, here's the thing is, okay, so there's so many different angles to it, right? There's the financial aspect of it where then they're complaining, okay, Open at the Arnold Classic gets, I think, 600K.
Oh, yeah, true.
Hey, maybe I'm wrong about that. Don't quote me on the exact figure, but Classic Physique is 60,000, so that's a big gap. And then Men's Physique was like 10,000, and it's like 10,000. I see that from the financial perspective, where I think that was one thing that Ali mentioned. He was kind of like not happy about.
I thought he said 20K. Was it 10?
I think he thought the show was 20K, and then when he won, he only got 10. So he was running more mad.
But that'll leave your ass chapped a little bit.
Right.
Where's my 10K? But
that makes a difference.
What really I think got to Ali and maybe Aaron Banks was just Arnold's comments. And it's not the first time. I remember a few years ago, Andre Ferguson had won, and it was almost this awkward interview on stage where Arnold's like, "Why do you guys wear these shorts? It's so weird." And sorry, terrible impersonation, but Andre's just sitting there and he's like, "This is the suit. Like, what do you want?" I'm just doing what I'm told to do. Like, if I were in Classic, I'd be wearing the trunks. If I were in bikini, I'd be wearing a bikini. Like, what do you want from me, you know? But Arnold's whole stance on it basically is, why don't they show off the legs more? And so, I don't want to say he's making fun of the division, but I think a lot of guys took it that way and now are like, "Oh, fuck the Arnold. We're never competing there again." For me, it's like, if you don't like, and I mean, Justin, you've done enough shows, I've done enough shows where, there's certain promoters, I don't like the way they run shows. So guess what? I won't do them. It's simple as that. So like, again, I don't think Ali was wrong for saying what he said and stating his opinion, but it's just funny how, like, I saw in one of the comments, it was like, damn, why are bodybuilders so sensitive? And someone responds, hormones.
That was my first thought, is like, sounds a little soft. Like, they're mad that Arnold like kind of joked about him. It's like, Arnold's not the only one who makes fun of men's physique. I'm just gonna say it. Like,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I compete in men's physique and I make fun of it. Like,
I was gonna say, you've sent me memes making fun of men's physique.
Power Rangers one.
Yeah, exactly.
You think the skin will be a little bit thicker?
What was that?
I say, you think the skin will be just a little bit thicker?
Yeah, for real.
I mean, so some of these guys really let the comment sections on social media get to them, and it's like, dude, you're one of the top athletes in the world. Like, come on, it ain't that bad.
Right.
I will say, like I said, it does sound like they're a little soft about Arnold's feelings about it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, are you doing the Arnold to like make Arnold happy, or are you doing it for you? Are you doing it?
Exactly.
I don't care who the promoter is. Like, I might not do a show if the promoter was terrible at I went to that show before and it was awful, but that's because the experience was bad, not because I'm mad about what the promoter said. Like,
correct.
I don't care about that. Now, I will say the discrepancy in pay, I kind of get. But this, obviously, there's multiple things to consider here. Men's Open is one of the biggest divisions and is the original. And then
Mhm.
Classic has just exploded. You know, since Classic was created, it has exploded. And Chris Bumstead has done, you know, an amazing job at like turning that into you know, one of the most popular divisions. And then
Mhm.
the 3 divisions for men, I guess if we're not counting 212, there's 4. But men's physique is probably the least popular.
Yeah.
So, you know, and this makes me think of the WNBA versus the NBA. Well, the WNBA doesn't make as much as the NBA because nobody fucking watches the WNBA. You know,
Uh-huh.
saying they don't
Yeah.
deserve it. I'm not saying they're not talented.
Right.
This goes for the men's physique guys. They're amazing athletes. They look awesome.
Yep.
But it's, you know, I don't, you know, Ali, I don't even know his last name. I only know because I saw the
Yeah.
I don't know
Sure.
anything about him other than that. And like
Yeah.
Banks, I only know because he's won once. Other than that, like, you know, people pay attention to the Open a little bit more, and maybe even more so the Classic as well. So
Yeah.
do see why he's mad, because I think 5 or 600 grand compared to 10
Yeah.
is
It's a little lopsided, but
so I'm not, you know, I'm just saying I do understand the monetary problem with it, but I do also know there's business and finances and
Right.
you know, who's bringing the money to the show. So
Mhm.
there's
Well,
that to consideration.
I'm just gonna throw it out there, and maybe it's a more popular category. Don't quote me on this. I think bikini got 20K.
Really?
No,
So
they
I
don't.
think bikini got more than men's physique. So again, like,
Mhm.
here's the thing: is like I think it was Bro Chat I was listening to maybe earlier today, and they made the exact point where they said, well, if Arnold hated the division so much, why would he even include it in his show? He's still
Correct.
giving them a platform. So
Mhm.
kind of like you said, are they doing the show for a check and for themselves and to win because it's the prestigious stage, the Arnold Classic, or are they doing it to get recognition from Arnold? Because respectfully, Arnold probably doesn't care who you are. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like would it be cool to be on stage and have Arnold doing the selfie with you? Yeah, and he probably even did that with Men's Physiques guys. I don't know.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, like whether I'm doing the Arnold or not, I'm not doing it because I want Arnold to like snap a selfie with me.
Yeah, correct.
The Arnold Classic, the American one especially, is a prestigious, well-known show, and I'm doing it because I enjoy the sport, not because I want.
And you're getting a lot of eyes on you too.
Yeah, yeah,
Promoting yourself, like.
yeah. I was gonna say even, and especially in this sport, there's
Mhm.
not a lot of money in. You know,
Right.
unless you are a top 5
Yeah.
Open Pro, or in this even Classic, winning consistently and or winning the Olympia, you're most likely not making the majority of your money from bodybuilding. It's from your sponsors,
Sponsorships. Yep.
YouTube, your, you know, those kind of things. Your things
Absolutely.
outside the content you create, coaching.
Mhm.
But other than that, like again, you got to do it for the love, not because you want to make the promoter happy or, you know, whatever
Exactly.
else. So
I mean, kind of like I was saying.
I see the different angles and different things to take into account.
Yeah, I get it from kind of all sides, but again, I just think like it all comes back to personal choice. Like, if you aren't happy with how a show's being ran, don't do the show. There's plenty of other
Mhm.
shows. And I mean, now that you've won the show and decided to step away, okay, guess what? Now next year there'll be a new champion unless Aaron comes back and wins again, type thing. But even still, like, again, for me, I've done my fair share of shows where I love the promoter, I hated the promoter. And that really came down to how I was treated as an athlete, whether that was like the show was expedited correctly. We've talked about this before, but it's like when a promoter leaves a bad taste in your mouth, you don't need to go online and talk shit about them. Just move on. Show's done.
Yeah. I saw
There's
some comments. People were saying that the men's physique guys should start wearing like the old classic shorts that were a little bit longer. I think that would be dope. But I
Some of them
mean,
have the legs. I mean,
yeah,
it's not like
right.
that's kind of the other part of the argument that I heard Fuad make, where he was saying, do you honestly think a men's physique athlete is training legs as hard as an open bodybuilder? Fuck no.
Mm-mm.
Fuck
I
no.
would almost argue to say that women's wellness is training legs harder.
Bro, they got some beats,
Boom.
bro.
You know, I see these wellness girls, and these girls literally, I literally look at every top wellness
Yeah.
girl that's a champion as like a stallion. Like they
Yeah.
just have these big fucking hips, glutes, hams.
Bro.
Like, I mean, shit, I wish my glutes and hams looked like that.
Yeah. Centaurs.
Yeah.
Literally, literally. All right. Well, that's all I got on all the drama in the industry. I think that kind of wraps up on everything. Let's get into the real episode now. So like I said, we got a special guest. We got Will Bates. Will, I don't know much about you, but what I do know is I love your content. Very
appreciate it.
inspirational. You obviously have had a crazy weight loss journey of your own that I saw from 2020. If you want to kind of talk about that, because I'm curious, like what inspired it.
I just wanted to interrupt real quick.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Will, so you don't know this. Obviously, you know, I asked you.
Yeah,
Scott and I started this podcast, and you know, of course, we're like, all right, who are people, who are cool people that we
yeah,
up to or learn from or inspired by?
mhm,
Obviously, interesting individuals.
yeah,
And when he asked me, the first person that came to mind was you. And
yeah,
then hopefully, you know, maybe this might be a spoiler. The next person was Jeff Lavecchio. I
yeah.
was like, those are two great like St. Louis guys that are going to
Oh
bring
yeah.
a lot of value to the podcast, their
Uh,
experience, and obviously you're going to touch on it here soon, I assume. You know, the charities and stuff that you do for veterans, active duty military members,
yeah.
first responders.
Hmm.
Like I said, I appreciate you coming on here. You know, you and Jeff were my first two people that came to
I
mind.
appreciate it.
Who are some
Thank
really quality people we can bring on here? So,
thank you very much. And you know, I'm going to be Jeff has a new facility out here by me, and I actually have an office in there. So
oh,
me and
nice.
him will be kind of working more hand in hand here coming in May.
We have
But
to check it out. I'm
to
excited.
answer your question, so back around 2020, they shut all the gyms down for a little bit, and I started getting fluffy. You know, I'm in my 30s, and the weight's not coming off like it used to, and stuff like that, and I wasn't able to get to the gym. And law enforcement, so I background in law enforcement, and so around that time, I'd been in two shootings, a couple shootouts. In that year, within about 6 months of each other, so they kind of took a toll on me, and I
Believe it.
was around December of 2020. I was about 3 pounds away from 300. So I was like, man,
Big boy.
yeah, yeah, right. Like I can't hit 300 pounds. And so I went on this guys trip from some of the guys I went to college with in Kearney, Nebraska. We all went out to Colorado, Estes Park. So we went out there, hung out. One of my friends, his name's Jordan. He runs a nonprofit for um, first responders out in Colorado. So I was kind of talking to him about what he was doing, and it seemed like he was, basically getting his cup full by helping other people. And he was a firefighter himself, and he had just left to run his nonprofit full time. So I get back to St. Louis, and kind of have that in the back of my mind. But first thing is like, man, I got to get this weight off. So that was the first time I did 75 hard.
Okay, yep.
So I started 75 hard at the end of December. Went through times where it was cold as shit outside and all that. But I ended up losing what I went from 297 to 258. So yeah, lost a good amount of weight there. And then we even towards the end of it, I had my one of my sons. So I was in the hospital doing my push-ups and all that shit, and then went
Go.
outside and everything.
No
And
excuses, baby.
right. And my wife is like, "Are you fucking serious?" And I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, I'm committed.
"Yeah, got to get this shit in." But no,
Yep.
she's supportive. So yeah, I started losing weight like that, and then I'd always admired bodybuilders and just different athletics. But one of my things was I could never have the discipline to do that. Or do what they do, or even seeing marathon runners is like, man, I don't have that type of discipline. But then when I completed 75 hard, and I was able to stick to a diet, stick to working out twice a day, and all that stuff, it's like, okay, well, I accomplished this. What else can I do?
Yeah.
So that's around the time I started kind of the Will Be Inspired. I In May of 2021, I put out there around Memorial Day that because I'd seen 2020 people were doing the 22 push-up challenge for veterans,
Yep.
veteran suicide, 22 killed themselves each day, which now that number I'm hearing is closer to 44. But I was thinking, I was like, man, there's something else we got to be able to do. And in my mind, I had always Gold's Gym, when Gold's Gym was open out here, I remember seeing a veteran come in and he lost both of his legs, in war and everything like that. And they signed him up and, he gets his 10% discount. And I'm like, damn, 10%. I'm
That
like,
ain't nothing.
yeah, exactly. So my idea was to do a year paid in full gym membership for a veteran. And
Love that.
so I put it out on social media. I was like, hey, is anybody, do you know anybody that could use this? A veteran that is kind of going through some stuff that might need some help. I'm offering a year paid in full gym membership. So I didn't get a lot of people that took me up on it. What I did get was my buddy Kenny Callahan, who was on my board. He said, hey, you find one guy, I'll match you and get two. So I went to the local Anytime Fitness right around the corner, and like, hey, you got some veterans that that work out here, or some people that want to work out here and maybe can't afford it, that could use a hand up. I'd like to get a couple of memberships. So he said, yeah, I have two actually. some guys that are, been going through some things lately and everything. And I think this will really be a tool to kind of help them out, get back on the right path. So we took care of those two, and he's like, "Man, this is awesome." He said, "I know some more people." I said, "Okay." I said, "Oh, I got,
That's how it all
yeah."
starts.
So I only got money for two right now. But then I was like, you know what? Let me, I put it out on social media. I was like, hey, we took care of these two veterans. I was like, but hey, if you guys want me to keep this going, I'll keep it going as long as, people want to donate and contribute towards it. And now we're at like, I want to say like 88, 89 gym
Wow,
memberships that we've
that's
gotten
amazing.
for military veterans and first responders. And so we started off with just military veterans, and then opened it up to law enforcement as well. Then I started talking to some fire guys, and they were telling me what they were going through. I'm like, well, shit, I didn't know
Yeah,
some of the traumatic things that they go through.
right.
So it's military veterans, first responders, and their families. And we do mental health counseling, gym memberships, anything kind of like physical activity wise to, because that was my big thing. It was like I've been in multiple shootings, I've been hit by a car, I've been gone through a lot of shit.
Sounds
And
like it.
yeah. And one of the biggest things that helped me out was lifting weights, getting in the gym and clearing my mind. So I figured that can help other people as well. So, and now we just started sponsoring, we do wellness retreats, outdoor retreats. So we'll go to Colorado. I just recently came to Arizona and brought a group down for a couples retreat in Arizona, give
Amazing.
them a chance to unwind. But then also, like, we hike Camelback, which that's probably my first and last time hiking Camelback.
I feel you on that.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it was wild, man. It was a great hike.
Yeah,
But coming
it's challenging for sure. Coming
it
down
is. It is. I told him, I was like, man, this is not a hike. This is a mountain climb.
yeah, it's climbing a mountain, and I'll tell you what, if you wear the wrong shoes when doing it, oh, you're gonna
Yeah.
pay for it on the way down because you'll be
Oh yeah.
sliding and you might bust your shit.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because the guy who drove us over there, he was like, man, he's like, you won't believe it, man. It'll be like 70-year-old women that pass you, kids that are hiking
Yeah,
or running or whatever. And as soon as we walk up, it's like 70-year-old lady just running up the mountain. I'm like, what is going on? I'm sitting here struggling for air,
yeah.
pulling myself up to man.
I'll tell you a funny story. I used to go because Camelback, literally, I can see it from where I'm sitting right
Yeah.
now. And I used to hike it when I wasn't a bodybuilder. I
Hmm.
would do it more frequently. Now, if someone asks me to do it, I literally automatically say no because I
Yeah.
know on Friday, if I check in with my coach, I'm like, "Hey, coach, sorry, rolled my ankle climbing a mountain." He's gonna be like,
Right.
"Are you trying to be a pro bodybuilder or a rock climber? What are we doing here?"
Right.
It's almost like a disrespect to him and myself at this point to do
Yeah.
stupid shit like that. So I play very safe. But
Uh-huh.
dude, when I would hike it, I would see there was this one guy, he was older, maybe 60s, 70s. This guy
Yeah.
would go up, down before I'd go up once. I'm like,
Insane.
what? Like, yeah, some
Monsters.
people are built different.
Yeah. So we went up the Echo side, which
Yep.
is supposedly like the harder side.
Yeah, there's
And
two sides. Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy. So when we got up to the top, I was like, man, I want to go down the easy side. So the
Call
lady,
it over, meet me on the other
so,
side.
so the lady at the top, I was like, hey, how do I get to the easy side? She's like, well, which side did you come up? I said, that side. She's like, well, you should probably go back down that side. I said, I don't want to go back down that side. I came up and it was hard as shit. So we went down the other. She said, okay, well, it's that way. So we
Yeah.
went down and it was harder going down that way.
Going down is definitely challenging, but I mean there
Yeah,
are those two paths, and I know
uh-huh,
Justin hasn't been out here yet to
yeah,
test his will on Camelback Mountain. We'll have to see how
right,
he fares, but
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely a challenge, and
yeah,
that's again where like when I see people at a substantially older age that are
oh yeah,
effortlessly doing it,
yeah,
it's inspiring because I'm like, okay,
yeah.
one, I can do this, and two, I should hopefully still be doing this at their age. So
Correct.
motivating.
Correct. No, but no, it was awesome. Awesome views up top, and it was a great team building type thing or whatever, and all the couples loved it. So great experience. But yeah. So then that's kind of what we've been doing, and then we've been doing athlete sponsorships, veteran athlete sponsorships. So my idea with that is to kind of show that veterans, you still have purpose after your service. So we have some pretty stud veteran athletes that I'm kind of promoting to show others, hey, you can do certain things too. You can inspire other people and hopefully kind of follow their lead. One guy, we're raising money to send him to what they call the Great World Race. So it's going to be 7 full marathons on all 7 continents in 7 days. So he runs a marathon in America, catches a
That's
flight to,
wild.
yeah,
That is wild. I could
yeah,
never.
yeah. So that's
That's
our
funny, right?
What'd you say?
That's Sully, right?
Yep, that's Sully.
Yeah, I saw that because when I
Yeah.
saw it, I read it and I'm like 7 continents. I was like Antarctica. I'm like, is
Yeah.
that a typo? And I like clicked on it.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
really? And then there was like an Instagram page for that
Yeah.
foundation or whatever. And I'm like, and I saw people running in the snow. I was like, holy shit! I didn't know you could go run a marathon in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel
That's
like
hardcore.
Well, and it did say like depending on the weather and stuff like that, they might have to adjust course and not hit it when it's crazy out there. But yeah, no, I think last year they were able to hit all 7 days and do it. But
very
yeah, but
impressive.
then what'd you say?
Very impressive.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, yeah.
I got a
So
guy
then,
out here who I met recently. He's about to do like a 100-mile run, and we're gonna
yeah,
work with him on doing maybe some apparel or whatnot. But even
yeah,
still, when he told me that, I go, "You gonna run 100 miles?" I was like,
right,
"That just sounds crazy." I could never even
right,
wrap my head around that. So it's almost like when you see people doing these really elite type of activities, even though it's outside of maybe our wheelhouse, it's
yeah.
so impressive because I know I could never.
Well, you could. It's just yeah,
Maybe I
right,
gotta
right,
trick my mind into it first.
yeah.
But
Like
I'll tell you right now, Will, you don't want to see this fat boy run. It's
right, right. Yeah, so when I got on, so I opened up a public Instagram as WillBinspired, kind of around the time that I did started doing the nonprofit for the veterans and first responders. And my buddy Nick White, he's a first form athlete. He's one of the original guys, and he gets on my page because he's running. He likes to run, and he got into running. He's a big time power lifter, squatted 900 pounds, deadlifts, fucking crazy weight. And he got into running, and he was like, "Well, why don't you do this 50K marathon with me?" I was like, "Hell no, absolutely not." So he'd asked me this in person, but then one day I made some kind of inspirational post or something like that, and he gets in my comments. He was like, "Well, if you're so inspirational, why don't you show people and run this 50K with me?" I was like, "All right, motherfucker, let's do
All right,
it."
you talking shit? Let's run it.
Yeah. So then, so I trained that summer for like 12 weeks, and then in September, I ran 50K with him. It was like 31.5 miles, and I was 265.
That's crazy, bro. At that body weight too is
Yeah,
crazy because like we all know how hard running can be on your knees and your joints.
yeah,
Like even I'm at 200 and I
yeah,
struggle to put a pair of shoes on and go up and down a flight of stairs. So running
yeah,
that distance
yeah,
is crazy.
yeah,
How
yeah.
did how did you feel when you were done?
So it took me 7 hours, and I was like, man, my knees are probably gonna be shot, but everything kind of stuck together until I hit like mile 26, and then I got in my head like, this is when people normally stop, like a full
Yeah,
marathon.
marathon. Yeah,
Yeah, and then so then I had what 5 6 more miles to go, and I finished it no problem. I had to stop a couple times to use the bathroom, but I was fine after until so the place we did it. Katy Trail, like in Marthasville. And it's about 40 minutes away from my house. So me and my buddy hop in the car, drive 40 minutes home, try to get out the car, and we both lock up because of sitting in the car the whole time.
I believe it.
And, yeah, yeah. And so then we wanted to go out to eat afterwards. So we went to Fifth Street, St. Charles, and we're just hobbling around like some old men looking crazy. And then the next day was a soreness like I've never felt before. But no, it's
How
worth
long
it.
did it take you to like fully recover from that soreness you felt the day after?
Probably a good 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
believe it. I mean, I think the last time I went on a somewhat decent run, I was
yeah.
in Miami at the time, and
Mhm.
it was like a light drizzle. This girl I was hanging out with, she goes, "Hey, let's go for a run," and I was like, "All right, fuck it, whatever." So we go through a
Yeah,
run through like downtown Miami, Brickell, and just like I would say, probably that's the first time in a long time I felt what's called that runner's high, which it is very euphoric, but it
yeah,
takes a certain distance until you feel that output of effort versus
right,
whatever internally you're like, yeah, this is
uh,
lit. But
yeah,
dude, I got back to the house that day. I was literally on the couch for like 3 days after, and
yeah.
we probably ran like 2 miles.
Uh, yeah, it took me a while. Like at first, the first month and a half, I was like, man, this shit sucks. But then after like I call it autopilot. Once I started, getting in shape for it and everything like that, I loved it for real. And then until like I did the marathon, and then I was like, you know what, I want to do a bodybuilding show. So then I signed up with Kevin Ford, and he was like, hey, you're gonna have to cut that running out. And I was like,
Too much
okay.
cardio.
Right, right, right. So, but no, one day I'd like to get back into, some distance kind of running, but nothing crazy. But I did like the way that I felt after some of those longer runs.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I think too, with whether it's long distance running, bodybuilding, powerlifting, again, I just have a respect for anyone who's doing something that's
Yeah,
challenging, that either
sure.
maybe I'm doing the same thing, something similar, or I can't even wrap my head around doing it. So, I mean, I think I've mentioned to Justin a few times that I have some friends who are pretty high level, like influencer boxers fighting on the Misfit scene on pay-per-view. And when I
Mhm.
watch them, they'll invite me to go watch them spar and practice. And
Yeah,
it's so intense because I'm like, okay, these guys have to obviously weight train like I do, or similarly. They have to focus on their diet. They need the rest and recovery. But the only difference is these guys are taking damage. Like I go
yeah.
to the gym just to lift weights. Maybe I'm going to be sore, but these guys go to the gym to practice and they're getting punched in the face. So it's
Right,
like,
right.
it's a tough living, but I
Yeah.
respect the hell out of it.
Oh yeah.
I was going to ask you, so what do you think is going to happen first for you? You do another like run marathon type, or you hop back on a bodybuilding stage?
I'm hopping on stage April 19th. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna do the
what
Midwest.
what show is it?
NPC Midwest here in St. Louis.
Okay, nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
That's one of our biggest shows right here in St. Louis. So
Is
correct.
is that the one I've seen? Were you and Liz on the poster for that? They were doing like an athlete thing or
yeah,
meeting? Okay.
The
maybe,
workshop.
I
yeah,
think maybe it was a
on the
workshop.
yeah, yep,
Uh-huh.
that's what it
Okay.
was.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's one of the bigger shows you guys have out there?
correct. Yeah.
Okay. Dope. How far out is it?
5 weeks.
Ooh, you in it right now,
Yeah.
brother. How
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
feeling?
Feel good. I feel pretty good. Energy's a little down. My sleep's been off just a little bit, but no, I'm feeling good. This is I end 75 hard on Sunday,
Congrats.
so then we can kind of incorporate some of the usual stuff. Yeah, like a little bit more rest if I need to or whatever. But
Yeah.
no, things are tracking along pretty well. Hitting a little bit of a stall on the weight, but what I'm at. I was at 252, 253 this morning, and I got to be down 246 is my cutoff.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what the weight cap was. What
Yeah,
was your stage weight last time? Do you remember when you competed?
244.
Okay, so right there, yeah.
Yep,
Right
yep. I
there.
came in at 244. Yep.
Perfect. I mean, it seems like you're on pace. And honestly, when you told me you were in prep right now, it could have fooled me because I think like energy levels seem great. When I'm in prep,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like people always joke when like
Mhm.
there was one year, 2023, I did a show and I was like staying true to myself with saying I wanted to document it the whole way. So I did like one YouTube video every single week for 17 weeks. And so I was like,
Mhm.
dude, how do you have the energy to do it? And I think like almost like anything, starting is the hardest part. So like
Right.
starting 75 hard, starting running. But it's like once you get into that groove and that rhythm, now it's just a
Mhm.
routine and you're like,
Yeah.
just picking up the camera and just going for a run. I'm just picking up the weights, like whatever it is. So I do agree with you when you say it's definitely up here for me with the running.
Yeah.
I think like if and when my bodybuilding career comes to an end, I would love
Mhm.
to get back to being more athletic. I know like Justin and I grew up playing hockey. So that's
Yeah.
something like I would love to get back on the ice one day. That would take a lot of effort, but
Mhm.
just, there's certain things, even hiking Camelback Mountain, I would love to do
Yeah.
it again. So
Yeah. For
but
sure.
there's certain things where I say like bodybuilding does cause some restriction because
Mhm.
again, when you're like me, 7 years deep into this journey, like for example, if I get a call from one of the homies over the summer and it says, "Hey, you want to go on the boat and go wakeboarding?" I'm like, "Boat, yes. Wakeboarding, no."
Right. Right.
Because I
Yeah.
all I think about is like some final destination type shit. Not like I'm gonna die, but like I see two
Yeah.
steps ahead where I'm like, I'm gonna break an ankle, then I can't
Yeah.
compete. I'm fucked. So it's
Yeah.
like I just live such a restricted life because I really
Mhm.
want to stay true to this one goal right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's discipline, discipline life. And, to be successful, you gotta say no to certain things and everything.
Yep.
I'm coaching a kid right now and he wants to bulk up and he eventually wants to get into bodybuilding and stuff like that. And he let somebody talk him into doing a 50-mile ruck. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. You can go ahead and do that if you want to. Now, but just know like down the road, you might forego some of that stuff for, the bigger picture.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the cool part too is like obviously at the core, it's eating healthy,
Yeah.
getting exercise in. So I think whatever it is that obviously like fuels your fire, again,
Yeah.
that's where like I got respect for. I mean, I mean, Justin, Mike Sidwell, dude, I see him overhead pressing that 200-pound circus weight, and I'm like, dude, I wouldn't even touch that thing. Like 200-pound
Yeah.
overhead press, one arm is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I ripped my arm out of it.
Literally, literally.
I
So
actually, Will know about it. Jeff Lavecchio posted like a one arm L sit, like a hanging L sit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of want to see if I can do that. I was like, that looks tough, but I kept seeing
Yeah.
other people do it, and I started like that competitive feeling.
Right.
I get up there, and I'm 230 right now. I get up there, and then I turn my hand around to have like an underhand grip, and my biceps bother me a little bit. And as soon as I let go, I'm like, that doesn't feel good. I'm not.
Yeah. No.
I was like, I'm gonna hurt myself, and I was a
Right.
little disappointed because like most of the time when I've done those little random like challenges like that, even in bodybuilding with where I am, usually I'm able to do it or at least not embarrass myself.
Yeah.
I think Rachel Compton asked if I could get in a squat and like touch my elbows to the ground, and I couldn't. However, she was pretty impressed with actually how low I could get. So I was a little disappointed, but I was like, that's not worth it. Like I can't do that without hurting myself probably at this point in time.
So it's funny you say that. I was at the gym one morning, and do you know who Travis Zessinger is?
Yeah.
So I was talking with him, and he had done the Jeff's challenge, and I was like, I'm gonna get up there and see if I can do it. He's like, man, I don't know. He said one guy just now tried, and he ripped his shoulder out. I was like, oh hell no.
Second thought, maybe I'll chill on that.
I said, you just made my decision for me. Yeah, we're just get that today.
I had yesterday, I don't know how the topic came up, but one of the girls I coached was asking if I could do like a one arm push up. And so like I get down into the position on the ground and then I kind of just froze. I'm like, I don't think I could do this. I was like, I mean, like, I feel like I could go down, but I ain't coming back up.
Right.
And I was like, okay, maybe I'll switch arms. I was like, no, left ain't any better than the right. So I was like, guess that's a no.
Right. Well, I mean,
like,
you put so much into, your physique and, the goal of bodybuilding and wanting to win and stuff like that. Any, injury, was like almost like catastrophic. Like just knowing the time that it'll take to heal and then get back to where you want to be, that might put you out a year or two. So it's like when you've made a certain amount of progress already, it's hard to risk it for, shit that doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Well, the thing
it's just kind of like anything else in this sport. Like we sacrifice a lot to compete, like drinking and out, and if it's not about training, eating, sleeping, or work, basically, there's a lot of sacrifices we have to make, and sometimes it's fun sacrifices like wakeboarding or doing L sits, Jeff Lavecchio style.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, something like in the restrictive lifestyle, right? It's like when you do have, say you're restricting yourself, obviously Will's in prep right now. So I'd imagine he's eating pretty clean. Maybe he gets a refeed here and there, but it's like when you do get that refeed, like, again, I don't call them cheat meals typically. I mean, it's bodybuilders, we call them refeeds because you're just refeeding your body with the carbs, the fats that maybe you haven't been having. So of course, like a dry sponge, you soak it all up and you look better, but it really blows a lot of people's minds when they start to realize like food is fuel, food is love, food is not the enemy. It's just kind of restricting yourself, and then obviously portion control, which a lot of people don't ever understand, but like leveraging certain foods at certain times to actually benefit your physique. And that's something I've really learned over the last few years.
Oh yeah, same.
What are your calories at right now, Will?
So I'm on I'm cycling. So right now we just switched to, I got 5 low days at 3,000 calories, which is still a decent amount. Then I go 5 low days, then I go to a high day, which is 3,900 calories, and then I have a medium day after that, which is 3,200.
Do you like structuring kind of high, low, medium? Have you done it differently in the past where you notice a difference in doing that now?
No, pretty much every year we've when it started to get closer, we started kind of cycling around this way. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'm just consistent with my intake throughout. I mean, obviously there have been phases where I've done some degree of carb cycling. But right now I'm just bulking, so I'm eating everything under the sun, or at least I should be.
You have anything in mind for next year?
To be honest, so the gym I coach out of, we've got like a competition team going, and we actually sponsor a lot of the shows in Arizona. So whether it's like Wings of Strength as the promoter or Whitney Jones, she's one of the bigger promoters out here as well. So we've got a couple shows lined up with them that we're promoting. So if I step on stage this year, which I need to requalify for a national level, so it would probably be, I want to say November 15th would probably be the show I'm got my sights on. It's Whitney Jones Classic. It's one of the bigger shows in Arizona, promoted really well, expedited really well. Like I've attended it probably every year. But there is another one that she presents each year, and it's called like the Arizona Classic.
Yeah.
And it's like the prestige to that one is if you win the overall for your category, like you would be Mr. Classic Physique or like Mr. Arizona, you know? So there,
Yeah.
it's kind of like an allure in that title. Cause I mean,
That's
shit,
dope. Yeah.
so like,
Yeah.
that's a cool flex, you know,
Yeah.
for the year. But, at the end of the day, it's like, not to knock any of these regional or local shows, but like,
Yeah.
I have a goal that's so much bigger than that stage that like,
Mhm.
I'm walking into it and I expect to get first or second and get my qualification because that's how I've always placed. So like
Mhm.
also again, if you're trying to earn a pro card, you should be getting first or second at a
Yeah.
regional
Right.
show. Like
Correct.
what do you expect? So
Mhm.
right now for me, after North Americans, it was just Justin knows he was with me there. I came in, I was 12 pounds under my weight cap. So
Mhm.
I mean, when you're supposed to be 182 and you're 170,
Right.
you ain't gonna win. I look
Mhm.
great, but not enough to win.
Yeah. Uh-huh. No, I got you. No, yeah,
So
I mean, I've seen some of your pictures where you look like great shape for sure.
I appreciate it, man. I'm trying to get like you.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me ask you this. So obviously you got the show coming up for you. What's the goal? I mean, I've seen your physique as well. I'd imagine you're
Mhm.
going to place pretty well here, get a qualification.
Yeah,
Are
that's the
you
goal.
going to move on to compete for a pro card this year?
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, first is, winning something here. You
I
know,
believe it. I
and then
believe.
like last year, the goal was to go, junior nats in Chattanooga. So I'd like to do that. But yeah, I'm just kind of one at a time. But yeah, no, the goal would be to go after a pro card for sure.
How many shows have you done?
This will be my fourth one.
Okay, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yep, yep.
I'm
So,
only at, I can still count. I've done, I want to say 5 or 6. So I mean, I'm
mhm,
pretty close to you, but I mean, it's
yep,
at that point you've developed enough time in the gym, enough
yep,
experience on stage where you're like,
mhm,
okay, like either we're doing this or we're not. And so
right,
for me, even with missing meals, like I almost look at that as a disservice to myself where I'm like,
right,
we doing this or not? Like what the
yeah,
fuck? And like, but
yeah,
again, so that just comes back to managing time better. But
mhm,
that's where we're all human. We all make mistakes. And again, the goal is relative to the effort we put in. So
mhm,
when I decide to
yeah.
get my shit together, I guess I'll be putting on some
Yeah,
weight.
there you go. Yeah, one thing for me is I definitely, I'm a taller guy, whatever. I need to bring my legs up significantly. And I don't know. Do you know Kevin Ford?
I do not know.
Okay, well, he walks around on tree trunks all day. So my legs have gotten significantly bigger since I started. Still got some more work to do for sure. But I'm happy with the progress we've seen so far. So I think we'll look a little bit better this year for sure than we did last year. Last year I got pretty, conditioning was great. Posing could have been a little bit better, and legs could have been a little bit better. But I think we've kind of dialed some of that stuff in for this one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the thing too, is like we look at our last physique or our past physiques. I
Hmm.
think for me, I mean, again, I know Justin hates to lose, but I think he will admit that for him, even if he sees his physique get better every
Hmm.
single year, even if there is the loss in there, there's still a win with like, okay, I'm moving in the right direction. I'm trending in the right direction. So I
Right.
think that's the most important thing for all of us because there's no such thing as perfect. We're just trying to make as
Hmm.
much progress as we can. And so for
Yeah.
me, it's like, I don't know, again, like I have such an internal motivation to be good at this, but also for lack of a word, sometimes life gets in the way. So you
Yeah.
sometimes just got to realign. I mean, my training's been on point and my coach has been
Mhm.
happy with my check-ins, but me
Yeah.
personally, I know there's still another level that I can go with the attention to detail and the focus. And that's what I really need to unlock this offseason to bring the next best version of myself. So
Yeah.
when it happens, I'm excited for
Yeah.
it.
I know,
There's a goal
Justin. I know we talked to you. I talked to you before. You're holding on. You're building for a while, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, now that I'm in the other league, I'm
Yeah.
a little fish again. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting around like 225, 230. I mean, honestly, I probably have to get to 250 before I
Okay.
cut.
Hmm.
But hopefully, about the conditioning I have right now.
Yeah.
That way, when I cut, it's only 15, 20 pounds or so.
Right.
So that I can at least be, at bare minimum. I don't think if I'm in open, if I'm not at
Hmm.
least 220, like 220 is the bare minimum, and I'll
Yeah.
still be outsized. But I do know that Justin Shire won the Chicago Pro. Uh,
Hmm.
I think it was 222.
Yeah, he
So,
looked
Okay.
it's not impossible, but anything less than that, I'm going to
Yeah.
be drastically outsized. I mean,
Yeah.
Mark,
You
I have
inspire
an
you
idea.
inspire me, man. The way you stay dialed in the off season and shit too. Like. Yeah.
Justin to me is the epitome of bodybuilding at this point
Yeah.
because when I say this dude eats, sleeps, and breathes this shit,
Oh
like
yeah.
I know he's just a very black and white person. We're doing this or we're not. And so like when I say I try to emulate that in my own protocols, it's because again, like there's two types of people who get shit done and people who make excuses. And I don't want to be someone that makes excuses. So I know that's just going to prolong the end result for my goal. And that's frustrating, you know?
Yeah. Well, then you can see what kind of dedication it takes to get there. You
Yeah.
know, watching Justin, you know, I watched you take second a couple times when I was like, man, this motherfucker looks like he has it to me.
Right?
Like, what is
Like
going on?
he looks the part. Give him the pro card.
Right. And then to watch him just, you know, shake it off and then come back and, you know, take that shit, like that shit was
Even
amazing.
better.
It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
great.
Justin, I got an idea for you, bro.
What's that? You got a what?
I got an idea for you. You're gonna love it. Your pro debut, men's physique at the Arnold Classic. What better way to step on stage?
I don't know if they have men physique shorts that'll fit over my fucking legs.
Right.
That would literally be. I mean, like
probably my best part. I can't cover those up.
Yeah.
You'll see me in men's wellness before that.
Right there. Right.
I would never expect to see you on stage in men's physique. It was definitely a joke, but I mean, you know, you definitely would fill out those shorts. So I mean, you could get a dub.
Did we ever talk about it? My very first show, I did men's physique. I think we talked about it.
Yeah, I've seen the photo. It's great.
Yeah, I did men's physique once back in it was 2015, so it's been 10 years. I did it, and I mean, I'm 230. I was probably 150, 160 on stage.
I think I saw you post something on IG about it.
Yeah, he's posted a throwback before, but when we were hanging out, he showed me the picture, and it was so motivating for me to see that because I'm like, oh, like this is where I started too. This is where you started too. Like, and now look at where you are. So like, I think kind of like what Will was saying with the motivation we pull from our friend group.
Yeah.
Like, I don't say this as a diss towards myself, but when I look at all my friends and I recognize that almost all of them have their pro card now, the biggest thing that motivates me is I say, they're no different from me. They work just as hard as I do, or maybe they work a little smarter. But if my friends can do it, then I know I'm running in the right circles and I'll be there too. So I really truly feel like, and again, Will, probably the same way you feel, where like it's not a matter of if, it's just when, and your time will come.
Sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. Just gotta keep putting the work in, chipping away at it.
Let me ask you this. So with everything you have going on from obviously like your own physique, your own clients, your nonprofit, are you still active as in the police force or?
I'm not now, no.
Okay. How many years were you active?
So 15 years total.
Congrats. Thank you for your service, man. I bet you got some crazy stories.
Yeah, some crazy
Well, when you said you were in some shootouts, I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, yes. It's been some crazy ones for sure. I definitely got a pretty much handled every critical incident you can think of here in St. Louis, you know.
Is St. Louis, I don't know because I've never been, but is St. Louis like a little rough in some areas? Because like, I mean, I grew up in Michigan and well, no, I don't think you both are laughing, so I'm guessing that's a yes. But like, I'll tell you a funny story. Like Justin will laugh at this, but growing up in Michigan, I remember like I was 16 years old. I get my license, and of course, I want to go downtown to a hockey game, go see the Red Wings. And my mom's looking at me. She goes, "You park your car and you don't go anywhere other than the arena and back to your car." Because Detroit, at that point in time, was not the best city. You know, there were some sketchy characters. But again, like any city, I feel like there's certain pockets that are maybe a little bit worse. But that's why I ask because I don't know much about St. Louis. To be honest. I do know I like.
It's downtown St. Louis has changed dramatically. I mean, you used to be able to go out, go to games and stuff like that, and not worried about getting, you know, robbed or, you know, shot. Like I had a buddy who went down to a Cardinals game. I think it was about 2-3 years ago, and they're leaving the Cardinals game, and he's crossing the crosswalk with some friends. One of his friends kind of mouths off to a car that was honking at him, and then he just starts shooting at him, and shot my buddy in the back, almost paralyzed him. So I mean. It's you know, there's a lot of the restaurants that used to be down there that are gone now, especially when the Rams left. I love St. Louis, you know, a lot of great people here, a lot of culture here, but the crime has just been insane for sure.
Sad to see that. I mean, I remember even when I was in Miami, this would have been relative to 2020. So obviously COVID had such an effect on a lot of people, but you know, it was also during a tropical rainstorm season. So with the weather being shit and just constantly raining and the homeless population being so abundant, you had these bridges in Miami where literally, I mean, it was, for lack of better words, a homeless society where you had villages, cities almost of this whole underground society. And it's sad when you see that, because obviously like, you know, those people either don't have friends or family they can rely on, or just an opportunity. Sometimes maybe they just need an opportunity to fix their life. You don't know. But my friend Kaylee and I, what we would do is, she worked with, I think it was an organization she actually started, and it was called Operation Sandwich. And so maybe we're at the grocery store on a Sunday and we would buy just a bunch of extra bread, deli meat, and chips and drinks, and just literally go out. We wouldn't post any of this on social media. It wasn't for clout. It wasn't for anything other than like, you know what? These people need help, and we can spare a few bucks and some time to help them out. So like, it's funny how one of my buddies told me some great advice that sticks with me. He said, if ever you don't feel good about yourself, do something good for someone else and it'll make you feel better. And that is one of the best things I've ever heard, because if ever I'm having a bad day, but I go out of my way to help somebody else, automatically it changes. I feel great. So
doing stuff with the nonprofit, I feel much better than law enforcement stuff. Like, I feel like I'm actually making a difference and stuff like that. With law enforcement, there'd be times where I would have somebody shooting somebody on camera, and it wasn't enough for the prosecutors if you didn't get a confession. He's literally shooting this person.
The legal system's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. And so that's very discouraging for sure. And you know, with the last regime we had in and stuff like that, and I mean, there was really no incentive for them to really prosecute crime. So that was one of the big reasons that, you know, enough was enough for me.
But you know what? Not to use the words protect and serve, but clearly that was always kind of your mission. And now you've just shifted that focus where you're still protecting, you're still serving, right? And I would say something you touched on earlier with the mental health aspect. And obviously we know a lot of veterans struggle with PTSD and things like that. And I remember this was probably 3 years ago, I was training at a gym, and I sometimes like to train late at night. It's just very therapeutic for me. Everything else for the day is done. Just smash some weights, go home, eat food, and pass out.
There you go.
And, there was a guy in a gym I was training. It was a smaller facility, old school type of gym. I really love it. The owner, Rob, is super cool. And this guy walks by me. He said, "What's up, man? How's your lift?" I go, "That's good. You?" He goes, "You know, just fighting." And I said, "What are you fighting?" He goes, "Demons." And I said, but you never really realize what someone's going through, whether, like I always say this is good day gym, bad day gym. So some days my lifts are inspired by, maybe I had shirts that sold out and I'm really motivated, or maybe my dog took a shit inside. I'm pissed off, and that's fueling my, oh, you know what? Actually, you know what motivated me yesterday in my workout, Justin? UPS losing your fucking package, which I'm still working on, by the way. But so it's funny because almost taking that negativity, but fueling it for something positive in your own life. I think that's okay.
That's exactly what got me started in bodybuilding, actually. I can't remember if we talked about it, Scott. But
the one that got away? No.
Kinda. I got the right one now.
Don't tell Liz.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'd already been working out consistently, but I got dumped on my birthday. You
did tell me that.
Yeah, I was not happy about it. And I'm like, well, I can be, you know, a sad little bitch, or I can go to the gym and get pissed off. I would much rather be angry in the gym than sad at home. So I was able to turn that sadness into anger and use that in a positive outlet. And we've all heard the term breakups make bodybuilders. And and even now, like I've told people, I think we even talked about it. Somebody asked, you know, what would you be doing if you weren't bodybuilding? I was like, I'd be in jail. I would have punched someone back out. I would have freaked out. Like, that is my outlet. If I'm angry, like, that is where I can, you know, turn something negative in me into something positive.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
it's funny. I don't know if you ever see the memes or the videos people do of guys getting dumped or getting friend zoned and stuff. It's like, all right, buddy, here's what you do. Here's your split. Here's your protein intake. You're like, go out there.
Well, I think a lot of people now
think of it, go do 10 push-ups and then
tell me how heartbroken you are after you hit chest day. We'll talk later. But no, I think a lot of people now recognize that the gym is so much more than just like building a physique, where like, again, it's physical therapy to some extent, where if you're having a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, whatever, go fuel that fire, put that motivation into something that's going to better you. And I think the gym's the perfect place to do it, because even like a lot of people, they don't have an outlet. Like, I mean, if you don't go to the gym, what are you doing that's physical activity throughout the day? Like, how do you get your aggression out, you know? So even, I have a girl I work with who she boxes 2 times a week for a cardio, but also like she just loves punching a bag, and anything that's pissing her off, just get that out. So no, I think there's a lot of therapy in the gym that people don't really necessarily realize. And I think that's also too, where like when you have such a positive gym culture, like, Will, it sounds like you've created through your nonprofits, it's like you recognize that you really have this community that's supportive of each other. And that's where, like, that's what gym culture should be. Like, I haven't really talked about it yet because we took a couple weeks off from doing this, but I just started coaching out at a new gym. And I mean, I've been in gym since I was 18 years old. So almost 15 years of gym in my life. And with that being said, I have never experienced a gym culture like in the venue I'm at now. And it is so positive. Everyone's so encouraging, motivating, asking how your day, like just something so basic, like, hey, how's your day going? It's good. Thanks. How's your, you know what I mean? But like, you know what I mean? Where it's that toxic gym culture where maybe someone's glaring at you like, oh, fuck this guy, or who's this guy think he is, you know? That doesn't exist, which for me, it's so rare to see, but it's like, wow, I have a positive environment around me. Like, this feels good.
I will say that. I mean, primarily, well, Justin, I know you're mainly at House of Pain, but every gym I'm at is pretty, pretty welcoming, pretty a lot of camaraderie and stuff like that. We have some pretty good gyms here in the St. Louis area, from my opinion. There's awfully some commercial gyms that rub people the wrong way out here, but all of our, like your House of Pains, your Project Powers, Fit City and stuff like that, like everything's always been love for real.
Yeah, I feel like those exact gyms that you mentioned, we have it's a good group of people in all those gyms. I'm at House of Pain and I love it. And my biggest problem there is that people talk to me too much. Like, and they're always nice. Yeah, exactly. And they're always nice. And that's the problem is I can't tell them typically because asking how you're doing. How's this? How's that? Where's Liz? Whatever stuff like that. And I know Project Power is a great place. Bart is a great dude, and I know like you and Kevin go up there, and I see Travis up there a lot, or I see his Instagram. He's up there a lot.
Right.
And I know those are all quality guys. And I know some First Form and S2 people go there, so it's like we have a great fitness community in the St. Louis area, and a couple great gyms because of that. And then I can't speak much to some of the commercial gyms like what's the main one here? Club.
Yeah.
Can't speak much to that one. I haven't been to that one in a long time. I have nothing bad to say, but
it's been a while since I've been myself.
Yeah, but the gyms that like we frequent, like Fit City, Project Power, and House of Pain.
You know what? It's kind of like you guys said, even in your responses, you go to certain gyms because the culture is good. And so like when you have equipment you like to use or a posing room there, good lighting, those are just kind of added benefits. But what I really feel right now is like, it's so nice to just feel surrounded by like good, positive gym culture. And I'll be honest, it's very, when I say Scottsdale's kind of like small, like everybody knows everybody out here. And so to get out from a gym where I had just been training for the last 4 years to now go somewhere new where, for lack of words, I don't know a lot of people. I'm meeting so many new people who are so supportive of me, what I'm doing, my brand, competing, everything that I'm like, am I in the right place? This is crazy. I've never felt this way before.
That gym looks dope. I've seen a couple different people on social media kind of post that.
Yeah.
And I was like, man,
you were saying Jen.
Yeah, Jen, and then there's a couple other people I follow. I'm blanking on the names right now, but saw them kind of posting there or whatever, and it looked pretty dope.
Yeah, I would love. Well, listen, next time you do a retreat out here, because I know you said you got some family out here too. We'll definitely have to hit a lift.
Oh yeah, I'll be there. Let's see, sometime after this competition, and depending on how that goes, what I got lined up next. But I would say probably sometime in May or June for sure.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll be here, brother, and we'll be training hard.
Yeah.
Justin, that's your invite too. You gonna get down here in June or what?
Yeah, I just gotta check with her schedule. We have Chicago Pro is in June.
Oh, hell yeah!
Is she doing Chicago?
Yeah, so I think she's at 18 or just under. It's either 18 on Saturday or 17 on Saturday. I don't know if I'll
okay.
But that's
I know she's happy to be back in prep.
Yeah. She's so excited. She's like, I'm 2 weeks in. I haven't had any cheat meals. I haven't done anything wrong. And
there you go.
So excited about it. So, but yeah, we're starting with that one. So, it's about her this year because I'm not competing. So it'll kind of depend on that. Most of our travel is typically, competitions and stuff. But I know we're gonna have to come out to Arizona at some point, and we've already talked about it. Will, I don't know if you know this. Liz used to live out in Arizona.
Well, he was before you hopped on or whatever. He said that they had the same coach or something like that.
Yeah. Me and Liz started our bodybuilding journey together. Looks like she took the fast track though.
Yeah. You guys are both killing it. It's
It's
awesome to
it's
see.
Yeah, no, it's so motivating for me, like I said, just to see all of my friends doing these things at a high level in their personal careers, their professional
Yeah.
careers. And I'm just like, damn, like, for lack of better words, I call it like the winner's circle because I feel like I'm just surrounded by a group of winners. So I guess by default, I must be winning.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
that reminds me. I wanted to jump back to something you said earlier. We were talking about me being in board shorts, and you said that like kind of gave you like inspiration or
Yeah.
something. And you also said, what we do. Like, I don't think that what I do is special. Like,
Yeah.
I eat a lot of chicken and I work out. Like, there's nothing special about that. And you saw where I started. It wasn't. I have humble beginnings. My genetics are not like what got me here today. I think it's my discipline. The reason I'm so disciplined, in addition to loving this, is
Yeah.
because I had to work my ass off to get here. I wasn't just naturally gifted. I didn't have a six pack my whole life and then decided to take test and then blow up. It was
Right.
not that easy. So me being disciplined and working my ass off, 24/7, 365 year round, and
Yeah.
being, my consistency and my discipline is one of my very strong suits, and my work
Mhm.
ethic, because I don't have the genetics to get away with half-assing stuff. The
Right.
same, the same went for me when I played hockey. I was
Mhm.
good at hockey, but it was because I worked my ass off. It wasn't because I just naturally was super gifted.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of it, certain talents and stuff are there, but like again, same goes for bodybuilding. I don't have
Yeah.
the genetics to get by on genetics alone. In fact,
Mhm.
I have to bust my ass. So that's a big part of why I am so disciplined and
Yeah.
consistent with this stuff, even in the off season. And then
Yeah.
obviously I just love it. But yeah, if anyone's listening and isn't sure, if they should start or they don't have the genetics, like neither did I. I was a little 140-pound like white kid, can't jump, like didn't, I don't have the genetics, but I just worked my ass off, and that'll take you a really long way.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then some people you never know until you start start living that lifestyle. You might have some things like when you start peeling away that fat and everything like that. Like man, like well, my first show or whatever, I'd never been that lean, and my back looked pretty nice. I was like, okay, I didn't know this was there like
yeah.
that.
You start to
So,
see, and I say it all the time, it's like there's nothing more motivating than watching your own potential develop before your own eyes.
right,
And it's
right,
so special because that's the journey, right? And so
yeah,
we're like a lot of the discipline Justin talks about, I mean, that obviously transcends in other areas of your life, like how serious you take your bodybuilding career, I'd imagine is how serious you take your business and building your nonprofits. And
yeah,
so it's like, yeah, it's just why I say it's special is because I think for me, like I've used bodybuilding as my backbone to use
mhm,
that same discipline in business, my personal life, just trying to make things as simple as possible because again, we don't need to do isometric lateral banded butthole plug pull downs like Justin was talking about earlier to get the most effective range of motion. We just
yeah,
need to work hard.
right,
So
absolutely,
yeah, that's probably my favorite part about bodybuilding. So is you can't so someone posted this recently. I think it was a buddy of mine who beat me in 2023, and he goes, it doesn't matter how many followers you have, it doesn't matter who your sponsors are, it doesn't matter
mhm,
how much money you got in the bank account. When you get on stage, all they're looking at is your physique. So
correct,
I think that's the
absolutely,
best part about it is you can literally come from any type of background and be a champion.
yep,
Yeah. And
100%.
there's a lot of examples of that. I mean, Kai Green was a guy that had, very little to nothing.
Uh-huh.
Even, Dorian Yates, before he got started, he was in jail for a little bit, I think 16, 17 years old.
Did I
And
see something recently about Kai uh,
He
getting
says
back?
he's making a comeback.
Yeah, I thought I just saw that the other day. He's
Yeah,
yeah,
back.
I
I
saw
didn't.
that. I'm not sure if that's again, I don't know
Real?
if that's a little to kind of keep him relevant or if he is. I mean,
Gotcha.
it looks like he's still in great shape, and according
Yeah,
to him, he's still eating and training like a bodybuilder.
yeah.
Uh, I don't know if he's ever, going to come back or not. It would be cool to
Hmm.
see.
Yeah,
It,
I
it,
just you said
it
that and I
would be
just saw
cool.
something about that the other day.
It would be cool, but let's be realistic. You really think he's coming for any of those top three spots right now
No.
against Derek, Samson, Potty? No way.
Yeah, I think it would be. I don't think it's in his best interest, like from a financial standpoint or anything. He might still look great, but after this much time off,
Yeah,
and you can still go through the motions and eat the food and train. But is that
yeah.
going to be the same as in when you're in your prime and competing
Uh-huh.
against Phil Heath? Because like there is that extra gear and that extra even just the intent in your
Yeah,
actions and your rest and your training. Like is it going to be the same? He might still look great and he could probably still beat some bodybuilders for sure.
Yeah.
But is he going to come back and like win? I don't know. If he comes back and doesn't win, it's kind of like it's high risk, low reward.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if Bob puts Nick at 8th, I wonder where he's putting Kai.
I feel like he could still be in top 8.
He's like Kai Green, 9th. No. Right behind Nick. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I feel like I've seen little things like that, and I don't think it's necessarily the Kai that says it, but like over the years, I feel like every year or two, there's like a bodybuilding page that's like they'll show an update and they're like, "Is he making a comeback?" And it's just
well, no, okay. I saw the one that Will's talking about, and I think what was said, if I'm not speaking out of context, was he did say he would make a comeback, but there was something where he was basically requesting the IFBB to financially compensate him just for competing, not winning, but just like pay me to show up type shit. And it's like, that's not how this works. We don't just hand out participation checks here.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That would really piss that Ali guy off.
Yeah. Dude, I'll tell you what though.
He gives him $10,500.
Dude, yeah. You know what though? Real talk. I really think, and I could be wrong again, but I think he thought the prize was 20, and so then when he only got 10, he was like, "There's only half."
That definitely would make you a little bit more angry.
Yeah. But again, like it's not about. Obviously, yes, we all need money to survive. We all like nice shit, but at the end of the day, like I'm not doing this for money. Justin and I talk about it all the time. This is passion. This is something I genuinely love, and for lack of better words, yeah, I'm grateful that. I'm blessed, for lack of better words, to be able to monetize it in some aspects. But I mean, I ain't gonna build. I'm not out here trying to buy Ferraris and Lambos with what I'm doing. I'm just trying to live a good quality of life and take care of the people around me. That's it.
Yeah, if you're looking for money, bodybuilding is the worst sport. Like you're an idiot. Like this is, this is a terrible sport. If you're only the paycheck, like you're the top open bodybuilder, maybe the top 3 open bodybuilder, you're not making a living off winnings alone by any means.
Like most industries,
Sam Sulek is doing better than most of us just off his YouTube.
Yeah.
He said Sam Sulek is making more money off his YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
What's your thoughts on Sam? What do you think with everything he's been doing lately?
I thought 2 weeks made a big difference in his look.
It made a big he locked in for 2 weeks for sure.
Yeah, because before I was like, I mean, he looks good, but I'm like, I don't know. But then 2 weeks later, I was like, okay, you know, he looks great. I mean, obviously he's gonna have to put a lot of size on now.
I saw a post. Justin and I were talking about this. Like, obviously now, congratulations, he's earned the pro card. And so now the hot topic with it is, okay, when's his pro debut? Is he going to work with a coach? And so I saw a clip of him, back in his car talks, driving to the gym. And something along the lines of, he said he's going to go without a coach. Like, he basically said that there's something so fulfilling for him about being in control of everything in his protocol. So if something goes wrong, there's no other finger to point. It's just on me. And I mean, I get that, but as someone who's been doing this a little bit longer than Sam, and you guys have probably been doing it longer than me, it really helps to have a second set of eyes because you see the same thing in the mirror every single day. And sometimes you start to question, do I even look good? Do I look like shit? I don't know. And like having a second set of eyes to kind of reel you back in, be like, you look good, chill. Like,
well, not only that, that'll save you so much time. It's like what they say, if you want to ask somebody the fastest way ahead, you want to know the fastest way ahead, ask somebody who's on their way back or something like that. So there's so many mistakes that you don't have to make on your own from somebody who's actually been through it, by getting a coach. So I mean, he seems like, I don't know a lot about Sam Sulek, but from what I have seen, it seems like a decent guy and everything like that.
Yeah, he's very humble. I mean, here's kind of the other side of the coin is, say he does continue to coach himself. He does win a pro show. Sam Sulek, now the best coach in the IFBB. Like, this guy's self-coaching himself. Like, you know what I mean? Because when Sam's one, everyone's asking, oh, is Mel, his wife, the best coach in the IFBB? No. I mean, she's got a great athlete and clearly knows some shit, but like, no, you clearly just have a very genetically gifted athlete who's already at the top of the sport. But I'm saying, like, the other side of the coin, it's like anything. If you invested into Bitcoin 10 years ago, people called you an idiot. And now they're like, oh my God, you're a millionaire. You're a fucking genius. So the same thing with Sam is, if he goes on to continue coaching himself and continues to win, we aren't going to be saying, "Oh, he's doing it wrong." We're gonna be like, "Wow, this guy's the best coach in the IFBB," you know, and that'll be the headline.
Yeah. Results speak.
Well,
Yeah,
I think it is a terrible move.
I agree. I think it's a terrible move too.
When you said that is that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays. I think that's kind of what I just said. I think that's kind of a high risk, low reward. Like Will was saying, if he hires a coach, he's going to have an unbiased set of eyes on him to keep him on track and be like, no, you are fat, do more cardio, or no, we're good, let's do a little bit less cardio, whatever it is. And what you said again, having a coach who's been there, done that, competed, coached other people. There's so many little things that they can help you avoid mistakes, and just there's so much benefit to having a coach guide you, especially if you are new. I'm not new in this, and I would never not use a coach. It's not that I'm incapable of coaching myself. It's just I know how prep brain feels like. I know the time it takes to write diets. I don't want to do that for myself when my brain isn't working, and I don't think I'm lean enough, even though I am lean enough. And a lot of things that I find super simple and common sense now, they're only that because I've been doing this for 10 years. And I did along the way. Whereas I didn't know this in my first competition or my second competition. So there's so much that he could learn, and from a coach, there's so much that could be taken off his plate if a coach would help him. Whereas you're right, if he, what he did coaching himself is impressive. I'm not saying it's not, because it is. Yeah. But I think he's kind of almost
a service to himself to try to compete as a pro without someone who has far more knowledge.
Yeah. With that much potential, if you're serious about this, if he's just doing this for kind of just for fun, okay. But if he's serious about like making somewhat of a career or, winning some pro shows, I don't know why you would handicap yourself to the knowledge that you have. Because he is, not only is he inexperienced in competing, but he is only 23, 20, like he's young too. So it's not like he's been in the game for 15 years and then decided to compete after being around it forever. He's still a new guy in this world. So, like I said, I wish the absolute best for him. And, if he does well coaching himself, congrats. But I think, the accolades or praise that he might get for coaching himself to a pro win or whatever,
it doesn't exceed.
I don't know if it's worth the risk of not having it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, like a coach is just going to save a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of thought. And for someone who does have the entire world watching his every single move, because he still posts a vlog every single day somehow, I think, again, like putting yourself in the best position to win. I'm not Sam Sullick, and I have a coach. So there you go. I'm just trying to put myself in a good position to win. And I think that that's just being conscious of, playing to the strategy of how do I win?
Before I decided to do my first show, I caught Kevin in the off season, well before, because I was like, man, I have no idea about a lot of this stuff, whatever. So I got him right in September when I was going for a May show. So he helped me build up, and then kind of we worked out some things there, and then we started our 20-week prep after being with him for 5 months or so already. But yeah, I think it's very important, especially if you never experienced certain things or whatever, to have somebody guide you along the way.
Will, let me ask you, because I know you've done a handful of shows. Did you do any previously without a coach?
No.
Nope. Okay. So again, same thing. I've always worked with a coach, and I think that just saves you from making a lot of mistakes. And I've switched coaches only one time in my career. I'll likely conclude my career with the coach I'm with right now. He's become, a friend, a mentor to me. And that's also too, where having someone like that you can kind of learn from, it's exponentially beneficial. And I think that Sam's missing a huge opportunity, because he could work with any coach in the industry. So he would really be soaking up a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, no, I try to do everything I can to minimize me looking crazy on stage. So if I can,
I love that. I just always say this. I go,
really on stage getting judged in our underwear. I want the least amount of possibility that I'm going to embarrass myself up there.
No, it's the truth. I mean, I say it all the time, and I don't know if I heard this somewhere. I made it up myself, but it's like when I get on stage, I think one of two things: I'm going to look dumb, or I'm going to make someone else look dumb. And I know I don't want to look stupid. So all I can do is bring the best package and make sure I know how to pose, because otherwise your boy gonna look real dumb in that banana hammock. you're doing classic?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Hell yeah. I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see. You got what, 5 more weeks?
Yep, 5 weeks.
Go,
Mhm.
baby. I'm be rooting for you. I'm
Oh
be
yeah,
rooting for you.
I appreciate it. No, I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure.
When you're in prep, do you feel like, I mean, obviously we all know when calories are lower, we start to get a little bit lethargic, that brain
Mhm.
fog. But with everything else that you have going on in your businesses, do
Mhm.
you almost feel like in prep it propels you forward because you're so focused with your time management? Or do you almost feel like because you're so focused with prep, it kind of you dial back a little bit on the business side of things when you're going for a show?
Oh no, it propels me forward, especially
Same.
with doing this 75 hard and everything like that. I'm locked in. I'm up early for the most part every day. Getting most of what I need to get done, whether it's like some fasted cardio or my workout and stuff like that. And then yeah, I feel locked in. That's why I mean I haven't stayed with Kevin like year round, but I'm considering it this year just so I can kind of stay focused, stay locked in. Not to say I can't do it on my own, but it's definitely a game. Makes a
That's what
difference when
Taylor
you
did.
have, yeah,
Our,
accountability and stuff.
our buddy Taylor, he's down in Tampa, but he won the overall at North Americans a few months back.
Yeah,
And same thing. I mean, when he was really trying to lock in, he up and went and was living with his coach in Michigan at the time. And he said, he goes, if I wouldn't have done that, I don't know where I would be in the sport right now because I don't think the results would have been the same.
yeah,
So again, when you're in close proximity to someone who wants you to win, wants to bring out the
yeah,
best in you, it's
for
only
sure.
going to further propel you. But for me, the reason I asked that question is because I think for me, bodybuilding brings out the best version of me. And I've
Oh
seen
yeah,
other people where it brings out some really toxic traits and
hmm,
negative behaviors. But I
yeah,
think a prep can really make or break some people. And
yeah,
for me, when I came down to recognizing time management and things like that, I was like, oh, okay, I have to do this at this time, then follow it
yeah,
with this, do that, eat this meal
yeah,
after. And so you just become like the most efficient version of
yeah.
yourself. And
I
like,
agree.
I don't know. I feel like I'm literally the best, healthiest, most productive version of myself when I'm in prep, which I don't think a lot of people would say, but maybe I'm just crazy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm definitely more locked in and more focused on everything I need to do. Because I mean, I'm not, eating the nonsense. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing any. I'm like, I don't really go out and hang out with, friends. I mean, I'm old and past that anyway. I'm normally in bed by like 9 o'clock for the
I
most
know.
part.
Justin told me he's like we got to wrap this episode a little early tonight. Will's got
Oh,
an early bedtime. I was like we won't
no,
keep him too late, but
no, I'm
it's
all good, bro. But
it's good to have that structure. And I think that's where, like, when people
mhm,
look from the outside looking in, they're like, how
mhm,
do you do this? This is so
yeah,
crazy. This is so impressive. But
mhm.
it's really, they just lack structure in their own life. So they could
Oh
never
yeah.
understand it.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I hear people, oh, I can never have that kind of discipline. I could never do this. I can never, yeah, so yeah, it just, but I look like, look at guys like Justin Kelly and some other people who are just like have been just dialed in for years. And
Mhm.
that's definitely something that I aspire to be more like myself. Because I mean, I've done, what I say, 3, 4 shows now. But
Mhm.
to say that I've been completely locked in all year, no. I
But
haven't, I
that's
mean,
being
being
honest and
honest,
accountable.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I haven't really had that yet. This last off season was probably my best so far. We had a goal of keeping me under 270 pounds, so we accomplished that, and so it was my best one, but still was eating a little bit off more than I wanted to and stuff like that. But then fighting to bring it back down, and so it just a little bit more of a struggle than it needed to be.
Well, let me ask you this, because I know obviously you're probably eating a clean diet right now.
Yeah.
What's the one thing, do you have any cravings in prep? Is there any like refeed or anything you're looking
So
forward to?
So now that I'm doing 75 hard with it. Yeah, so I'm doing 75 hard with it. So I haven't had any like cheat meals.
Yeah.
And
You've been double locked in.
right, yeah. So the refeed that we get is normally like I get like a steak and potatoes or something like that. So still
So
eating
clean.
pretty. But really I don't like once I get like a month or so in, I really don't have the cravings because I don't have it. But it's like once I get a taste for it, then that's when shit goes.
Yeah.
But I like burgers, fries, and
Same.
stuff like that. But it's the sweets that kind of get me in trouble.
What
Um,
what about post show? Like I know some people have just like these crazy binges they go on post show. Are
yeah.
you usually able to keep it kind of, tailored back and stay pretty responsible with, you'll have a few treats maybe a day or two after, and then it's like, okay, let's dial it
So
back.
this
How do you
last
handle
time
it?
this last time I was for sure.
Yeah.
After my first show, Kevin was like, "Hey, you might, have your cheat meals. You might want to take it easy or whatever." But man, I smashed Five Guys, had some donuts. I literally got to the point where I was laid out on my floor and my stomach was just gored,
Just,
feeling sick. Like, oh my god! And
yeah.
so Kevin, I checked in with him like that Friday or something like that, and I was like, "All right, where's my reverse diet?" He said, "You need to get yourself back down to 250 or whatever it was or
You need
whatever."
to get right before we hop on anything.
Right, right. And he said, "Then we'll talk." So, but yeah, no, that time was almost painful. But no, I mean, this last time around was probably my best coming off of it thus far.
I
Someone
think
asked,
the more you do it, you get better at rebounding.
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
I think we've all had that first show afterwards where we ate too much. We felt like
Yeah.
shit. Probably didn't look great that
right.
quickly afterwards. But like the more you do it, the more you learn to control it and
Yeah.
stay more disciplined afterwards.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Someone asked me earlier, like if I binge after shows, and it's funny because obviously they don't know leading up to it that you're refeeding. So like typically my body, I'll digest burger and fries pretty easily for a
Yeah.
refeed. So I usually do that the night before,
Mhm.
and then maybe even in between prejudging and finals. So now I'm 2 cheeseburgers, couple fries deep. Like when I get off stage and I'm done, I don't want more junk food. I want like fresh fruit. I want like a cold Gatorade. So
Yeah.
like the last show I did, I mean, I don't even think I ate anything until like a couple hours after. And then like maybe the morning after, I think we had pancakes somewhere. And then I was kind of like, okay, I'm good to get back to like chicken
Yeah.
rice, whatever. But I just feel better overall when I'm eating
Right.
healthy. So that's like primarily, I was talking to someone yesterday. I was saying like, I'm sure we've all had those moments. You order like a large Domino's pizza and you
Yeah.
crush the whole thing. But then what happens the next morning? You're on the toilet for 30 minutes feeling like shit. I couldn't tell you the
Yeah.
last time that happened to me because I don't eat like that. So
Mhm.
obviously cause and effect, but not feeling like that, I'll take that effect any day of the week.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's
for sure.
good to
I
say.
what was it one point in time, like I was eating clean and then I forgot my protein shake or something like that at work, and then they had in the vending machine they had one of those Gatorade bars.
Mhm.
It's a protein bar, but it's packed full of
That's a
sugar.
candy bar.
Bro, and I
They're
ate it,
delicious
and
though.
my stomach was ruined for the rest of the day.
Yeah, those things are thick too. They're like
Yeah,
it's like a big ass bar.
yeah, absolutely.
What do you say, Justin?
Said, yeah, those things are a brick.
Yeah,
Dude, you can literally beat somebody with that thing.
right, absolutely.
They are good, but like that's the funny part too. Even when you look at like healthier choices, so like candy bar, protein bar. Let's be real. This is like the protein bar is probably just a candy bar that has a little bit of protein in it,
Right.
So it's like I was telling one of my clients yesterday, they're like, "Hey, I'm just gonna eat like an extra protein bar today instead of this meal." I go, "No."
Yeah.
I'm like, protein bars and protein powder is a supplement. What is this
Right.
in addition to? In addition to what? Your normal food.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So it's just always funny when people talk about diets, but well shit. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, and I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know it's getting late over there. You guys are what time is it over there? Because you guys are a little bit of a time difference, yeah?
10:30 right now.
Okay, so 2 hours. Yeah, yeah. It's only 8:30 over here, so I still got
Yeah.
few meals to eat tonight.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate you coming on, and honestly,
For
like
sure.
from not knowing you outside of just your Instagram before,
Yeah.
I always appreciated the content you posted. It was real, it was raw, it was authentic, but you were clearly just being yourself, which is what
Right.
I appreciate. And so when Justin literally, like he mentioned, you were one of the first people, he was like, "Oh, we got to get my guy Will on." And I was like, "You know him?" I was like, "I love him." And so it's just so cool where, again, when you really look at like the who, what, where, and how, the people,
Mhm.
places, things you're connected to. Like I feel
Yeah.
grateful for obviously you taking the time to do this, but
Oh,
also
yeah,
a little
absolutely.
bit of your story and continuing to, I mean, dude, your Instagram's crazy with motivation, inspiration, and just getting people to be the best versions of themselves, which is really what it's all about.
For sure. For sure.
So I appreciate you, man. We'll definitely
With a
have to
little
get you back on.
commentary here and there.
What's that?
There was a little commentary here and there.
Your commentaries, I was watching the one earlier where it
Uh-huh.
was like, women are beautiful creatures. You're like, yep, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what does she say next? And you were like, she goes, we have been squashed and murdered
Oh, yeah,
for centuries.
murdered
And
and
you're like, still standing.
right, yeah, exactly. Insane, man. And it's it really well, probably maybe 2, 3 years ago now. it really kind of started taking off. I did you know, the Jason Aldean song that everybody was up in arms about, and I was like, you know, I kept, you know, oh, he's racist, this is racist, and everything like that. I was like, man, let me listen to this song. I listened to it. I'm like, the fuck. Ain't nothing right like like
Just
this.
another country jam.
This is the hill you guys want to die on. This, and
Yeah.
so I made a video about that, and then it just started taking off or whatever. And then you know, I started getting all the hate and all the call the what is that your
Sorry, my lights were flipping off on me. I was
yeah
like, it's getting dark in here.
started getting all the hate and everything like that. And I'm like, man, this is nuts. And that was my first kind of time experiencing it. And I think that that video did like 2.5 million views.
Yeah.
For just to me was common sense. And that's been the most surprising thing to me is like, I'm like, how do people think any differently than this? Is like, are people brainwashed or what is going on?
I
Because
think that all the time. Like,
yeah,
I know not everyone thinks the way I think, and
yeah,
you know, we're all unique.
correct.
Have different views and perspectives and experiences and everything.
Yeah,
But like a lot of the stuff that you talk about, you know, I agree. I don't know if I'm sure there's something we disagree on, but I haven't
right,
heard
right.
anything.
Mhm.
But a lot of those things I think of, I'm like, how do like I know I'm not perfect, but like some of these things, I'm like, how does anyone?
How do you
Right.
see it differently? Like, that's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
like
even when they start talking about pushing some of the stuff on kids and
Oh,
sexuality and transgender stuff and sex changes with kids, I'm like, how are people like okay, like literally okay with this, or do they
like
just hate
you can't get a
one
tattoo,
side
but you
so
want to
much?
chop their, you know, shit off and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah. Like
yeah,
there's so many things. And I think I don't want to blame social media. I'll just blame culture as like a blanket across because there are obviously we're all kind of in agreement on a lot of the things we're mentioning.
right.
But then there's the people on the other side and they're like, yeah, no, like your kids should be learning about all the different genders in elementary school. I'm like, there's two, and no, they shouldn't.
Right. And yeah,
You got a
insane.
dick or you don't. Period.
Yeah, I mean, and we've dealt with some of that in our school system out here.
Yeah.
One of my buddies, you know, the district he was in, his daughter came, you know, home and was like, hey, you know, we learned about what lesbians are today and this and that, and I had to ask
I
my
was like,
friend what a lesbian was and all that. And he's like, what? You're 12? Like, what are we talking about?
like you should be worried about your first kiss with a boy at that
Yeah,
age,
I
not
mean,
worried about scissoring some female in your
yeah,
class.
and that's the thing is like adults do what you want to do and stuff like that as long as it's not with kids. But you
Right.
know, bringing up kids and this sexuality and all this shit or whatever is just insane to me.
Yeah,
I
that's the
mean,
thing. It's like that's why I feel like it's such common sense and just
Yeah,
it's there. Like none of our views. I don't think any of our views are really extreme. It's like if
no,
you're an adult. I don't care. Love who you love.
right,
And I do hope like gay marriage is legalized federally. Like I'm all like we have gay
yeah,
friends.
knock
You know,
yourselves
gay,
out, guys. Have
yeah,
fun.
like,
yeah,
Go to
whatever.
a fabulous wedding.
but like leave the kids out of it. When they're adults, they can learn about sex. They can learn about their sexuality, whether they like men, boy, you know, men, women, both, whatever. No one
Yeah,
really cares. I don't know
hmm,
anybody who is actually like homophobic.
right,
Um,
No, I can't name a single person that I
we just
know
want
that
to leave it alone.
genuinely is
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, like no
It's
one
just when
really
you try to
cares.
push your views on the other people and stuff like that is when it's like okay.
I'll
And
tell you,
it's I always think it's funny. Like if you flip that and just made it straight, it'd be weird. Like if I went up to kids in school who were like
Yeah,
8 and I'm like, dude, you know how good boobs are? Like
yeah, right.
that'd be
Yeah,
really weird. And it's like
yeah,
the same goes. It doesn't matter if it's gay or straight. We shouldn't be talking to those kids about straight sex
right.
or you know stuff like
yeah,
that.
you never hear a straight dude talking about how straight he is, but you always hear gay dudes talking about how gay they are. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hey, chill,
I
Yeah,
bro.
don't put
and then
like I
you
love
got your
women in my bio. Like I, you know, I
right.
fucking love
Yeah.
girls. Like that would be weird. And it's the
Yeah.
other people on the other side who are real extreme about it. They
Mhm.
make it like their life and their personality.
Yep.
It's where like I know gay people and they're so chill. They're so
Yep.
relaxed and cool about
Right.
things. They feel very similar to how we feel most of
Yep.
the time. You know,
Oh yeah,
that's also like the
I got a
OG.
bunch of gay
Like
people that
Becky is a great example.
yep.
Rachel Compton, she's a good friend of mine, and she's
Mhm.
very chill. And she's
Yep.
not in your face about it. Like I, you
Yep.
know, all the gay people I know are cool as
Mhm.
hell.
Yeah,
You
one of
know,
my biggest sponsors is gay.
Yeah,
And you know, loves my stuff, big supporter and just wild. I mean, doesn't agree with this drag story hour, you know, where drag queens got to come in and read books to kids. And I'm like, well, how do we get here?
yeah,
man.
it's times have
What's
changed. It's
that like a
crazy.
stripper, or if it was just a straight female in
Yeah.
lingerie? Why would you be talking to a
Well,
kid? It's
Exactly.
not even that it's necessarily gay or
Mhm.
transgender. It's just an inappropriate topic, whether it's
Right.
straight or gay.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't think Hooters girls should be reading the little 5-year-olds either. There's no need for
Right.
that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that I really don't like talking about, but like nobody said stuff for such a long time, and it gave these people a foothold to try and normalize. I'm like, oh, like, people, what you would call crazy or insane, and they're trying to normalize it. I'm like, oh, people are really believing this shit. I'm like, no, I got to
Yeah.
say something.
And
Like,
some of it did stem from the LGBTQ, the letter alphabet.
That
Uh,
acronym.
I think, you might have alluded to this, like they've been normalizing stuff that's like just way beyond, like the
yeah.
minor attracted people.
No, bro.
So you're a fucking pedophile.
Yeah,
Dude,
Not,
exactly.
the
they're
whole pedophile
normalizing
thing, I
that.
can't even understand that. How you would sexualize a child is the weirdest thing to me.
Yeah.
That is one of the most unforgivable, disgusting things.
Oh,
I
yeah.
preying on people that can't protect themselves or are
Mhm.
less able to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Women and children and animals are just awful crimes, and especially of a sexual nature.
Yep.
That is, I'm sure Will feels the same way. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm on the wood chipper boat for that.
Yeah, hell yeah. Absolutely.
I'll tell you what. I was at athlete workshop with
Yeah.
a bunch of judges from the NPC last week, and I ran into friends of mine who are coaches in the space, very high level, and they just had their first kid. And I'm holding their daughter. I'm thinking, this is the most beautiful thing. She's such a happy, healthy baby. She's smiling. She's laughing. Never once did I think I want to fuck that baby. Like that's crazy. like I'm just like, for lack of better words, when I held their child, I'm like, all my worries went away. This is so wholesome. Like she
Yeah.
doesn't know bills, taxes, racism, bullshit. All she knows is goo goo gaga, smile and cry.
Yeah.
And it's so wholesome where I'm like, when I see someone who's like abusing children in any aspect, or even Justin said animals too, which it's just like, what is wrong with your mind that you think this shit is okay? And then
Yeah.
you'll hop on social media and try to like make propaganda of it to normalize it is even further crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think that they're trying to normalize that because there's some sick elitists out there that did this with kids, and it's like, oh, if you like kids, it's okay because I like kids too. Like,
they're like, oh, men can be women, women can be men.
yeah,
Gender is a construct. When it is the slippery slope, and that's
yeah,
what people
sure,
have warned. When does age no longer become a thing? You
right,
know,
yeah,
and like we've already seen the fact that they're even using the term minor attracted person.
yeah,
Or I even saw somebody, I think it was in, I want to say the UK, like Britain. They got in trouble because they called somebody a pedophile,
yeah,
sexually assaulted their child
mhm,
or a friend or something along those
yeah.
lines. And it's like, are we really worried about pedophiles' feelings?
Did you
The
see?
fact that,
Did you see? I think his name's Cain Velasquez. He's a former UFC fighter, and I
yeah,
don't know the story 100%, but I know the gist of it was one of his relatives was sexually abused at like a daycare, and Cain Velasquez, being the savage motherfucker he is, found this dude, chased him down in a high-speed chase, and was shooting at him.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I heard.
Maybe a little
Yeah.
extreme, but also I'm not mad about that. Like,
no, that in my opinion,
you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
yeah. Honestly, the guy's probably safer he was getting shot at than it was hand-to-hand combat with Kane.
You're
Oh
probably
yeah,
right.
right.
I have no problem with that, other than the potential to hurt somebody else.
Somebody else, yeah, yeah,
That it was a little reckless. Other than that, like
yeah,
there are very few things I'm going to object to when it comes to punishing somebody who harms women, children, or animals.
absolutely,
Yeah.
I
absolutely.
think,
You know
especially,
what?
I mean, you need to make an example of them so other
yeah,
people don't think it's okay.
yeah, exactly. And those penalties need to be harsh,
Yep,
very
absolutely,
harsh. And
absolutely.
personally, like you were talking about, like I don't know what's wrong with their head.
Yeah,
People like that, there is something wrong with their head. And
yeah,
I'll, just devil's advocate. Here's some leftists in me.
yeah.
It might not be their fault. I think there is something wrong with them. It's not okay, and that's
Yeah, I
fine.
mean, there could psychologically be an issue.
Problems doesn't mean it's okay for me to break shit. But
Yeah.
just because you have a mental disorder that makes you think it's okay to touch women and children inappropriately or without consent, there's
Yeah.
still something wrong with you, and that deserves being addressed.
Right.
And in my
Right.
opinion, it deserves harsh addressment.
Absolutely. I don't know if you saw, I posted another video today. It was a street preacher basically saying that man are men, women are women, and stuff like that. Well, a transgender walks past him and puts a gun in his face.
Yeah.
Yeah, puts a gun in his face. And
that's a perfect example of some mental instability. Like,
right.
you could walk by me and call
Wild.
me any name in the book.
Yeah.
You can tell me, if I walk by you and you're like, oh, that's a girl, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
Exactly.
on somebody for that. Like, that's
I,
crazy.
I think, Justin, I've told you this story before, and Will, this will be the first time you hear it, but I find it funny is that I'll go to this Walmart that's not too far from the gym, just if I need to get groceries because it's close
Yeah.
by. And there's this giant person who is like 6'4", 260,
Yeah. The palm
stacked human
basketballs.
being. And I'm going to paint the picture. Long wig, eyelashes, full face of makeup. Dude turns around and rocks a name tag that says Frank. How are you going to do all this? At least like put a name tag on that says like Frankie or Francine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, if that's how you identify, more power
Right.
to you, sister. But
Yeah.
it's like almost funny to me when I'm like, we can all tell you're a dude. Like,
Right.
do whatever you want. But it's like, I hate to sound like I'm judging somebody, but like at the same time, like, again, do what you want to do, be who you want to be. As long as you're not hurting anyone, I'm fine with it. But I also have a hard time wrapping my head around it just because my mind doesn't work that way. So
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I was at North Americans, 6 months ago or whatever, it was getting home to the hotel after I won. So it's like 11 o'clock at night after I went out and ate. And I walk in and there's a guy with like long hair down to here, full beard like mine, wearing heels, fishnet stocking legging things, a
Yeah.
skirt, and then like tube top,
Hey,
and a just completely hairy chest.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you went the 9 yards. You didn't want to just shave the chest though? Like,
I guess the better question is who's attracted to, like, what demographic are you even shopping for at that point? Are you trying to attract men or women? I don't even know.
Well, the
everything.
crazy thing is, them be the dudes that be in the women's locker room changing with them and stuff like that, with all their
Oh
pieces
my
still
God,
intact.
that's
and everything.
crazy.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
that's the problem right there. Is, once again, like, no one cares. I don't care about men or women transitioning as long as you're an adult, like, do your thing. But yeah, someone like that who's still got their fucking shit intact and still has a hairy chest, just because you put on a wig or grew your hair out doesn't mean you need to be in the female locker room. And not everybody that is transgender or cross-dressing is a predator. Not all of them are doing
No,
that.
of course not.
But when you are given that opportunity or that loophole, predators will take advantage of that. And that's the problem. And it's not that we're against transgenders. It's just we're against predators taking advantage of that and being in women's spaces. And it's some women don't understand the safety issues with that.
Yeah,
we had that in St. Louis, Justin. We had a person who decided they were transgender, but had been at the gym 10 years previously, married with a wife and everything like that, and then divorced and decided that they want to be a woman now, and went into the women's locker room and all that stuff, and
that's
ended
weird
up
shit.
getting kicked out because there were some threats made and everything like that, and he still had all of his appendages and everything like that. But yeah, just
I'll tell you guys a crazy one. I was bartending and managing in this nightclub a couple years back, and there were these three women that would come in that were clearly they were Oriental, but you could tell they were men, but they had some work done, so they were a little modified, if you will. But I would always think to myself, what am I going to do if I'm a dude in the restroom and I look over in the urinal and it's literally a dude with tits and a dick pissing? I'm like, yo, wrong restroom. But then it would be even worse if they went into the women's restroom and you see a girl. It's like, bro, wrong restroom. So it's like almost like that's kind of a dicey one. Maybe there just needs to be a family restroom, and it's like so weird.
Yeah,
I will say, like, if there's not I think a family restroom or single stall restrooms would be great. Because obviously that you can go in there regardless of what you have or what you're dressed like. It's just you, no one else is there. That in certain cases that might be best too. So, like in your option with, like, it sounds like some Thai lady boys or something.
That's literally what it was. Yeah,
they look like full girls, but then they still got their hang down. To be honest, I wouldn't be like. I would be a little.
What would you do if you're taking a piss and you double take and you see like a lady boy in the restroom next to you? Like, what would your? I don't even know what I'd be like.
I feel like, does that happen in the movie White Chicks? I feel like something like that happened. But I would be confused as hell. But to be honest, I would much rather a male dressed as a woman be in the locker room or bathroom with me.
And the women's,
Sure. I am, as a male, I'm more capable of protecting myself against another man. And I would rather be vulnerable. And in reality, I don't think I'm going to be a victim. or you know, like I'm the target of any sexual act.
Good luck. They ain't coming for you, brother. They're probably scared of you.
If I am, I think I'm gonna be, you know, I'm more likely to be able to defend myself effectively against a male than a female would be able to defend themselves against a male. So in that case, I'm gonna be like, that's interesting, but I would much rather she be here with me than him be in the female's locker room. But like you said, a female or a family bathroom is a great option. You know, have one or two family bathrooms and, you know, establishments, gyms, restaurants, whatever, so that you can be alone and not, you know, make anyone feel uncomfortable.
Exactly.
You know what? Not to shift topics, but I'll give you guys just one more before we wrap up. And Justin kind of reminded me of it. And this happened a while back, but it keeps popping up as relevant, and it's relevant once again. So there's an athlete. He's with Young LA. I don't even know the kid's real name. His Instagram handle is Daddy Aioli. But long story short, maybe you guys are familiar with this story, but this kid's an athlete with Young LA. A video surfaces of him literally punching his cat in the face, like repeatedly, like kicking his cat, punching his cat, throwing his cat. And like, it went pretty viral. A lot of people made content about it, so much so to the point where Young LA is like, okay, we need to kind of distance ourselves from this. We don't support people who abuse animals. Fast forward maybe 6 months, bro's back on Young LA, literally wearing his shit, dropping the Young LA code. And I almost think that sets a really terrible precedent. Like, no, he's changed. He's a better person now. Yeah, I do think people can grow and change, but this was literally 6 months ago. Like, show me videos of him treating his cat nice and maybe I'll use his code and believe it. But no, I can't support that. That's crazy.
There's no coming back from that. You got some
That's
demons.
like, you're punching a cat in the face as a 220-pound bodybuilder. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I think that is, again, hurting women, children, and animals, things that
I said it,
less likely to be able to protect themselves. Or the disabled. That's another one. The disabled, physically handicapped. Attacking people that are, you know, again, just generally less able to protect themselves, I think is such a low thing. And I think there is something mentally wrong with you. At some point, there's some kind of sociopathic tendencies or something. Like I used to have 2 huskies, and they were Lennox was like 80 or 90 pounds, like good sized dogs. And they, as you know, at times they really grind my gears, but I never would have punched them or hurt them. You know, discipline, yes. Realistically, if I smack my husky's butt, it hurts my hand more than him. I would never, like, abusing an animal is such a low and horrible thing to do. I find that there has to be something wrong in the brain somewhere. Like there's some kind of sociopathic or a lack of empathy. There's something missing for you to harm females, women, children, animals, or the disabled. And I don't think that is something that changes. I think like it's kind of the same like domestic abuse. Like if you punch your wife, there's something wrong there. And I don't think, you know, maybe you can avoid it sometimes, but like I feel like if you haul off and punch a woman, or you're beating a child, or you're hurting an animal, I don't think that is something that changes in you. No. You know, the best you can do is not be in the situation and get angry by those things. But I don't think that's something that is an oops. It's not a mistake.
Yeah. Well, when I say I would hope that people learn from their mistakes and don't make the same mistakes twice, but also, again, like, for lack of better words, for a brand of that caliber to acknowledge the situation, get him off the team, but then re-platform him is really irresponsible, because I don't support that. I know you guys don't support that, but the reason I'm bringing it up was kind of relevant to what we were talking about right now. And it just goes to show how fucked up society really is. So,
well, not only is it wrong to do in the first place, but you do it on camera too. Like,
why are you filming it? Posting it on social media is weird.
All right. No, I want people to see my crazy. Like, what do we?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like, bro had to go out of his way to set up the camera to film it and then post it and think that was normal. So there has to be something.
Even like that just adds to my point. The fact that you filmed it and we're like, that's fine. Like, I'll post it. And you thought that was crazy. Because, you know, to be honest, I've done things that I am definitely not proud of. And there never would have been a time where I did any of those things where I was like, let me record this and upload it, because I knew
let me post this on my IG, see how many hits it gets.
Like, you know, when you do, like, we've all made mistakes, and I've made mistakes, and I've done things I'm not proud of. And most of the time, before I was even done saying it or doing it, I knew it was wrong, and I immediately was like, damn it, that's not good. I shouldn't have said that.
Something of that caliber is like,
Yeah, but yeah, the fact that he filmed it and was like, "Yeah, send it," like
Right.
that. There's got to be something.
Oh,
Something.
yeah.
I hope that
Saying like he deserves to go to hell or anything. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just
Maybe.
hope here's my hope is that enough people are talking about it again in disgust that Young LA would bring him back in literally such a short time frame where I never saw a formal apology. I've never seen him at an animal shelter. I've never seen him even post a photo with him be like, I love my cat. Like, so it's like, love him.
That shit. Or seen a photo of the cat. Is the cat still around?
For the cat's sake, I hope he's found a new home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right though. That does set a very bad precedent on
Yeah.
on Young LA's part. Like you're allowing somebody who has beat animals, like a
Yeah.
kitten, like a cat. Come on,
Yeah.
you're gonna allow that to stay with your brand. That is not a good look.
No.
Yeah, and the reason I brought up because based on what we were talking about, but I think my hope is that again, I never want to defame anybody or expose anybody, which is not what we're doing here. But it's just one of those things like we all know it's wrong, and the fact that, for lack of better words, because he has a decent physique and a good following, they're like, yeah, bring him back. He'll push sales. Like, dude, that's not how you run business. So a lot of people are talking about it right now, and hopefully that goes back up the flagpole and they do the right thing for good this time where they're like, okay, you know what? Like we're catching too much heat. We don't want to be associated with this. You can go fix whatever problems you have and we wish you the best, you know?
And I mean, if he doesn't get some kind of repercussions for this, we were just talking about with like pedophiles. If there's not consequences for your actions, what is the deterrence to not do it again?
Right.
You did it in the first place is just wild. But then if you're not punished for it, even if it's just, honestly, if you're beating animals, I think there should be criminal charges. Animal abuse is, again, that is one of those things that really, I just think it's terrible.
Yeah, no, it's sad is really how I feel about it. Yeah, sorry to take this podcast there, guys. We were talking about shitty people and hurting women and children, and it was just relevant because I saw someone post a reel about it the other day, so it was on my mind. But let's do this. Let's end on a positive note tonight. Will, you want to leave people with any words of wisdom, any life advice, inspiration that maybe you live by or has helped you in your journey and that you share with others?
A lot of people, especially when I deal with client wise and stuff like that, they have certain goals, certain results that they want in life, but they say, I can't accomplish that. I can't do that. Um, you know, get around people who are doing what you want to do, type of people like how you want to be in life. You're capable of doing anything that you want to do within reason, obviously. But it's like people don't believe in themselves, or don't aspire towards greatness anymore. They're fine with being average, even though they tell themselves they don't want more, but they truly want more out of life. And if I could say anything, it's just go for that thing you want. Get closer to your goals. Do one thing every day that puts you closer to that goal. Don't give up and keep chipping away at it until you get it.
I love that. I mean, I think after watching the Arnold Classic 2 weeks ago, you see every single champion from each class, even men's physique. They all say the same thing. They said, I believed in myself. I put in the work. I had faith in the process, and I trusted God that I would get to where I am right now. And I think that all of that is true for each and every one of us, is that the only thing separating us from like where we want to be and where we are right now is time and effort. So figure it the fuck out and do it. Otherwise, you're gonna be sitting back watching three guys like us. We're out here doing it.
Yeah.
Time's gonna pass either way. You might as well be working towards something.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
the best thing is time flies by, and I feel so much more like even Will and I were talking before we started the recording tonight that I've got a couple days left on my 75 hard. I finish on Monday, and I didn't need to do it. I did it basically just to motivate and inspire my clients. And again, I already live by the majority of those guidelines on a daily basis. The hardest thing for me in my off season was getting the cardio in, but I've stayed true to it. And I was telling Will how in anything I do, Justin and I talk about this all the time. If I can influence one person in a positive way, and guess what? Out of all the people I coach, all the people I work with online, only one person stuck true to 75 hard. He's finishing it with me, and he's down almost 40 pounds, has completely changed his mindset, his life, his physique. And I said to Will, I go, it only takes one, because his transformation is now going to inspire 1, 2, 4, however many other people. And so it's so funny how by Justin, you doing what you were going to do anyways, Will, you doing what you were going to do anyways, inherently you're actually motivating someone else to be a
Yeah.
better version of themselves. And that's really how I try to live my life. So
I don't know if you follow Ed Milet at all, but one of his
yeah.
things is why he works so hard and does so much is he says when he dies, in his mind, God will show you the version that you could have been, you
Mm,
know, and he wants to be as close to that version
I like
of
that.
living his best life and everything like that. He doesn't want to not recognize the person that God shows him. He's like, hey, you could have done this. You could have had all this. You had all the opportunities. And I think so many people die with regret.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's like, hey, I could have done this. I could have done that. I could have made the most of my life. And people were just, fine getting by Netflix, social
Netflix and
media,
chill.
eating shit or whatever. And, there's more to life than that. It really is.
Yeah. And that's,
That that
I'm just grateful for the bodybuilding journey because it single-handedly has taught me that there's so much more to life. Before bodybuilding, I mean, I was just so focused on girls partying, going out all
Yeah.
the time. And
Yeah.
I really came to realize now that maybe I go out once a year to some of
Mhm.
the spots that I used to work at or manage, and everyone looks like me like they've seen a ghost because I don't show up there. But it's
Yeah.
sad when I do show up there because I see the same people in the same
Doing the
places,
same
doing the
thing.
same shit, talking
Yep.
about the same shit. And they look at
Right.
me like I'm so special. But like Justin said, I'm just following my path, eating chicken and rice and going to the gym every day. And
Exactly.
again, some people look at that as so unique, so special. And to some aspect it is, but also it's just me doing what's best for me.
Yep.
It's not
Oh
worrying
yeah.
about some social confine or construct that everyone else is worried about, like how many followers do you have or who do you know in town or how cool is it because you were here last night? Like I don't give a fuck about any of that shit. Anything cool to me is progress.
Right. Right.
So, Justin, you got anything you want to wrap with?
I wanted to touch on what Will said. The thing that Ed Milet said, I don't know if I heard it from Ed or somewhere else, but that
Mhm.
that exact premise is something that has kind of guided me for a long time. I think I posted about it like once or twice, maybe.
Okay.
It's been a while, but
Yeah.
it was the same thing basically. Like when you die,
Yep.
you're going to be introduced to like the best possible version of yourself.
Yep.
Let that person be a stranger.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
best possible version of yourself when you die and you're in heaven or whatever you believe in, and that person's a stranger. Like think about how sad that is that you could have
Oh yeah.
accomplished, see what you could have accomplished, and
Yep.
that's not who you are.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I just wanted to kind of reiterate that because that has been something that again I haven't spoke about in a long time or even
Hmm.
shared very often. But
Yep.
that's something that had kind of a big impact on me.
Absolutely. Same.
That, drives me today. I don't want to lose, and I don't want to meet my future self and not
Right.
compare it.
Yeah,
So,
and see what you could have had, what you could have accomplished
Yep.
had you put the effort in. I mean, sitting on the sideline is one of the saddest things you can do in life. And so many people are complacent and comfortable doing that. So it's like as they watch the three of us tackle our goals on a daily basis, whether it's in real life or social media, hopefully they do find inspiration in that and they can make whatever adjustments they need to start truly living their own best life. And I think for so long, I had the misconception of, partying and having a good time all the time was living my best life. But now I've come to realize it's really like the five things I really only talk about, which is my health, my wealth, my
Yep.
friends, my family, and my dog. Those are really the only five things I give a shit about. And
Yeah.
anything outside of that, it just is noise.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
well, I appreciate you both so much, Justin.
Appreciate you.
You the man. Will, it was so nice to meet you, bro. We'll definitely have to get you back on. I know in the future we've really just been doing like one guest at a time, but I think we're going to start maybe bring like two guys on at a time and
Yep.
just kind of chopping it up. But I really appreciate you sharing your story and
For sure.
just being a positive role model, which not a lot of people are anymore.
You're right. Yeah.
positive role model, a voice of just common sense and
But
decency.
no, I appreciate you. Yeah, Justin, you be out there talking too. So yeah, I know.
I listen, I love Justin's post, and I was
Yeah.
just gonna say Bob Ciccarello might be the voice of bodybuilding, but Will, he's the voice of common sense. So
Yeah. No, well, I appreciate you guys having me on for real. I'll love to do it again sometime.
we'll definitely
Yeah.
do it again. We next time we bring you back, it won't be when you're 5 weeks out from a show.
Sounds good.
But I'll be following your journey and rooting for you over the next couple of weeks. I know you're going to crush it because I already know how your mindset is. But just thank you so much for coming on and sharing some of your story, talking to some of our network, and that's really the best part. Is again, Justin and I say this all the time: is bodybuilding is so much more than just muscles, and
Yeah.
even able to connect with. You've had so many different life experiences I will never experience. So for you to be able to hop on here, share that knowledge and experience with maybe someone who in my circle you wouldn't have reached otherwise, or Justin's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just so cool to me because again, I know we're leaving a good footprint, and almost like going back to the Ed thing before we wrap was when I die, I don't want to have regrets, right? I want to know that I left some type of mark, some type of legacy, some type of impact that maybe my niece or nephew or future generations can look back and be like, yeah, my granddad was dope, you know? And that's the thing. I'm just trying to make my future self proud. So
Hell yeah, absolutely, brother.
well, I appreciate you guys. I'll drop all the links for Justin and Will down below. So if you guys want to follow them, listen to any of their political takes, any of their reactions, they're all good. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. And until next time, peace.
All right.
Good night.
Thank you guys.
Well.